Foreplay, presented by Barstool Sports. We're back. We're in, and we got a lot to talk about. We got Phil Mickelson with some of the most explosive comments in recent memory that are now leading to all sorts of discussions about Saudi money, blood money, PGA Tour, media rights. He threw out the number $20 billion, I believe. We had Jordan Spieth almost fell off a cliff at one of the most iconic holes in the world. We have the Chiclet Cup coming from Vegas. We got Waste Management Week here in Scottsdale, about 5 minutes away from my apartment. Bryson DeChambeau posted on his Instagram story that everybody just needs to chill. Reports of him being the new face of the Saudi League with $135 million. He said wrong to that. Brooks Koepka chimed in. We had Harold Varner III won over in Saudi Arabia. We had Leona Maguire, who was just on this podcast, won. So we got a ton to get to.
Have we not done a podcast in a year? Have we not done a podcast in a year?
Feels like as soon as we stop recording on Wednesday and we put these bitches out on Thursday, then the whole golf world happens, and then we're back, and we got to wait another day, which is Monday, go through it all. So anyways, we got a shit ton to get to. Lurch is...
He will be bursting in here like the Kool-Aid Man at some point. Don't you worry.
Yeah, and I tried to even send in the group text a little like, just talk about your chili. Don't come in and like rehash the whole show because then that ruins the whole show because like we already did the whole fucking show. But anyways, Lurch is away. He should be in here in 30, 45 minutes, something like that. We have Frankie, Trent, myself. We got Jake Bass, Brennan Jones, Alex, who's back there. And then I think we lost Garrett, right? Garrett with the lame name Garrett. He's not on our team anymore. Is that right, Jake?
Yeah, he's a part of our graphics department now, but he does help out with a lot of the promos and stuff we do with the travel series.
He's so
Garrett
good
was
at
so
making
good
graphics.
we lost him.
Yeah, like other Barstool personalities or groups have now poached him because he's that good.
Listen, at the end of the day, we are company guys, and anything that makes the company stronger, more creative, funnier as a whole, we are for that. Unfortunately, when a situation like that happens, we lose him directly. I know he still does a few things for us, but Garrett is off to bigger and better things because he's just that good at graphics.
Mm-hmm. He is. It's true. So we got a lot to get to, like I said. Waste Management Week, I have a credential, so I'll be at the tournament throughout the week. I'm going to be kind of mixing up, just hanging and having a good time and networking, one of a big Lurch word in his world, networking. Everybody in the fucking golf world is here for Waste Management, it feels like. So, and then I'm going to jump inside the ropes and try to get some stuff. But as Phil Mickelson himself alluded to, it's very difficult to get anything. That's why we don't go to that many PGA Tour events because they have state-run media where you can't really post anything when you're on site. So we'll see. But anyways, where should we start? Where do you guys want to start? What do you want to start with?
I want to talk to you guys about the Chiclets Cup because you guys were out in Vegas, and I know that's not the most pressing golf news in the world, but this podcast is about us. It's not necessarily about golf. But I want to know what your guys' experience was like. Riggs, you saw Frankie play finally. There's been a lot of chatter on this podcast last year about how good he is. Is he horrible? Did his team kick him off? Whatever. How was the experience? Because it looked great.
I was very excited to talk about this because of exactly what Trent just laid out. We've gotten play-by-play breakdowns of Frankie's first season and now second season in a roller hockey league on Long Island. My number one takeaway was that Frankie, for someone who's only been playing hockey for a year or so, was really good. And Whitney and I actually were discussing it on the bench one time when he was out there, that Frankie has pretty fucking good hockey sense, which probably I imagine comes from being such a lunatic Islander fan and watching every game since he's like 5 years old. But he has a nose for the net. And again, he might not have like forever all the skills playing his entire life. Growing up, you learn things at a young age that just become natural to you forever. He doesn't have all that. But like when he's in front of the net, especially on his forehand, he could bury. Like when there was a scoring opportunity, he could bury. When the play was sort of migrating towards the net, he had that nose for the net where he would kind of be there and be in the mix and be in the right area. There were times when like he would get the puck under pressure along the boards or something, and he would just kind of sense that like I should just throw it towards the net, which is all, again, good hockey sense. He doesn't really turn particularly well. He doesn't like move directions particularly well. His handles aren't, again, fully natural. You can tell he's kind of like grinding through it. He knows he should like get the puck to his forehand and like rip it across tape to tape, but like he can't necessarily do it that quickly because he hasn't been playing his whole life. But for how limited he played, if you took someone that's played golf for 1 year and you put them on a golf course, how fucking terrible they would look. Frankie was significantly better than that. So I thought overall, I was pretty impressed with Frankie's game.
That's a glowing review there, Riggs. I couldn't
really
stop smiling if you watched the YouTube version of this.
You were
podcast.
blushing.
I'm serious too. I'm serious too. 'Cause hockey's really hard. It's not like especially to start, because you got to learn how to skate. You got to learn a stick and a puck and skating. It's really difficult. Football, is sort of the ultimate primal sport, because it's like running, catching, and running into people and that's pretty much what you do. And yeah, it's really hard to be really, really good at it. But somebody who's never played football in their life, if they're just a really good natural athlete, you put them on a football field for a year, they'll probably be a pretty fucking good receiver. You might not notice that much difference. Golf and again, hockey and certain sports where or skiing and shit like that, where if you don't know the fundamentals and aren't taught those fundamentals as a kid, you look like a fish out of water out there. And I didn't think you looked like crazy out of place. I thought you were very solid out there.
Well, I appreciate that. That all feels very good, especially from some of the negative stuff that came out of me from the Chiclets Cup regarding my face.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I want to say this is that's exactly, kind of the breakdown that the guys that I played with last year said, that I kind of just blend in, which is all you kind of want to do when you don't know the fundamentals. So for me, I don't know the fundamentals. I was even asking Riggs, and I was asking Scott Darling and Patrick Sharp, what are some of the things that I'm missing here? I don't know any of the stuff. I know in baseball, when you're at second base and the pitcher's about to throw the ball, you want to get on your toes and kind of move around, because if there's a ground ball to you, you want to be light on your feet. You want to be moving. I know all the fundamentals of how to transfer the ball from the glove to the shortstop, how to turn a double play, how to hit the ball opposite way on an outside pitch, how to go with the ball. I don't know any of that for hockey. I never went to a hockey school. So I was asking Scott Darling, I was like, oh man, I had my stick in front of me when the guy shot and it almost rimmed up into my face. Am I supposed to have it angled down? It's almost dude, when you learn the golf swing, we'll get into this later after we talk about the PGA Tour stuff, but I went for a lesson last night, and talking about grip, it feels like you've never gripped a golf club. When you grip it the right way, it feels like you've never held a golf club in your entire life.
It's true.
So there's little things like that with hockey that I don't know anything, dude. I don't know how to edge the blades, and I don't know how to do any of that. So it's fun to be out there with the boys, and I do kind of know where the puck's supposed to go because of how much I watch. Riggs and I, first of all, he's giving out a lot of compliments. He was the best player on the team, and this team included Patrick Sharp, 3-time Stanley Cup player. You were significantly more impressive than Sharp out there, which is nuts. Crazy hands. The one thing about Riggs is he can get the puck to his stick no matter what the situation is. So he goes through 3 defenders, and the puck stays on his stick. So he's kicking it to himself. He's got some of the more aggressive soft hands I've ever seen, which I don't even know if that makes sense. It's kind of like an oxymoron. But he's fast, but it's also smooth. And you're what the fuck just happened? He's a frustrating guy to play against because you don't know how the fuck he got past you. You're all right, we just cornered him, and now he's behind us. So unbelievable. He was blowing everyone's mind. Even Whitney was Jesus Christ, this guy's fucking nuts. It was crazy. So that was fun to see. And then, dude, Riggs and I connected on a one-timer that was maybe one of my favorite goals I've ever scored. He got it across the D-man, I slammed it home. It hit the back of the post and shot all the way back out to the center rink. I was Jesus, that was awesome. So it was fun, man. Two guys.
It was funny, dude. It was funny for golf podcast guys that come in here and just scream at each other. We're at odds with each other. We're on the course hitting some of the worst fucking golf shots you've ever seen. And then we're backdoor scoring and high-fiving and going to the bench being great play. It was a totally different dynamic. It was
so
hilarious.
much fun. We scored goals. Riggs and I,
it was awesome.
We connected for 4 or 5 goals, and we were just we talk about this on the pod. We talk about golf on a podcast. What are we doing out here? So yeah, it was a lot of fun. The Chiclets Cup is doing a really good thing. It's the classic of hockey at this point. It's a must-come-to event. Barstool's starting to get into that space, as Lurch likes to use those types of words, but live events are starting to fucking really rev up, man. People are having the time of their lives, and when you combine it with the Vegas casino, that type of environment where you're able to go from the casino out to the game, and you're able to go to the bars and the clubs at night, and it's all in one hub, fucking awesome. So a lot of fun.
It was fun, man. I will say, Trent, the Chiclets Cup, because the only one I did was the pond hockey tournament in New Hampshire, which was great. It was a blast. That was right before COVID. It almost feels like it got washed away from memory because the whole world got shut down after live events. It was the pond. I remember the pond was extremely choppy because there were huge rivets through the ice. It was hard to stick handle, and it just wasn't the same. This is the first one I've been to since then. I didn't go to the Detroit one or anything like that. It was such a fun. Hockey culture is obviously its own world too. It's hey boys, everybody feels like they're best friends with each other the second you see them, and the Chiclets guys are hilarious. So even it's funny to think that we have this sort of like ongoing tussle with the Chiclets guys, because when you see them, they're just infectious. We have a phenomenal time. Biz and Witt are like the nicest, funniest fucking dudes in the world. Gornell's awesome. Like that whole crew's great. So immediately you're immersed. Everyone's there to have a good time. You had a bunch of like Canadian boys that came down and a bunch of like Minnesota, Wisconsin, like that type of crew, because it's the hockey crew. And all those people are basically Midwestern nice, you know, like every single one of them. So everyone was having a really, really good time. It was in Vegas, so people were clearly in a good mood. And it's fun, and it's just competitive. Like, people like to compete. That's pretty much what it comes down to. It's the same way, like, when we go on a golf trip and the sun goes down, you're looking for something. Ping pong, a putting competition, a chipping competition after the sun goes down. Same way with the Chiclets Cup, where it was like people are just out there to compete no matter what. And it's like, oh, yeah, we're going to have a couple, like, Labatt Blues, a sponsor, and Pink Whitney. We're going to have a couple people. When you get out there and you start going, like, man against man, and somebody, like, rubs you into the boards or something, you just can't help it. You get incredibly competitive to the point where Patrick Sharp, 3-time fucking Stanley Cup champ, the last game, like, put his full helmet from Vermont, his full Vermont helmet with, like, a full face shield on, and he was like, it's fucking go time. And somebody rubbed him off into the boards at one point. He's like, I turned around and told the guy, like, I'll fucking kill you. Like, you just can't. And Sharp is literally the nicest human being he was so happy to be there. Like, we were just shooting the shit in the locker room with him and Scott Darling for 4 hours between our games on Thursday. And he just couldn't believe that he was in this situation. He's like asking Frankie about a bunch of the interactions he's gotten into with. And he came over to me in warm-ups the first game and was like, man, I like love your guys' stuff. How'd you get into all this golf stuff? And he's like referencing shit from the podcast. I'm like, dude, you're Patrick Sharp. You're the hottest, most impressive, perfect person. He like married his college sweetheart. He's got these 2 kids, and he's on TV, and he's beautiful, and he's winning Stanley Cups. And he's like, I want to do what you guys do. We're like, what are you talking about? Like, what the? So dude, the whole thing was kind of surreal, but it was so much fun from start to finish.
When we won the championship, we did like that dog pile thing over the goalie, over Chef Donnie. And I remember I was like one of the second to last people to get back onto the rink, and everyone's throwing their gloves up. We played in the D division, by the way. So, I mean, there was a C, a B, and an A above us. So yeah, it was kind of a sandbagger, but we needed a W under our belt. We just needed one. I remember having this out-of-body experience where I threw my gloves up in the air, my stick, and everyone was already in there looking for me to come in, and Patrick Sharp was, like, the one that was like, come on, like, and I was thinking to myself, this is the same view Patrick Kane and Jonathan Taves had for 3 Stanley Cups. Like, I'm now bull rushing this huge group of hockey players with Patrick Sharp inviting me in to celebrate this championship of a hockey game. And I almost cried. Like, when we embraced each other, I almost cried. And I remember him coming over to me after, and he said, dude, like, I don't want to leave the rink right now. Something about this is, he goes, I feel like I love hockey again. He's like, I've been retired for 4 years ago. Like, I don't want to leave the rink. I kind of want to just stay out here and just like keep like drinking. You know what I mean? Like, he wanted to pass the cup around and skate around. So, amazing experience, dude. Just really, really cool.
Dude, I was stick handler in my apartment last night. I was like, when's the next game? Like, we got to get back out there. It's skating and just playing hockey and being part of a team too. Like, it's so fun being a part of a team. Like, when you have a good shift, or even if you make like a good defensive play and you come off and everybody's like tapping you on the shins, or like, good play, Frankie, good play. You're just like, fuck yeah, boy. You just want to go to war for people. So,
and we did this whole storyline. We did acting this week. It's kind of a thing that they do with these.
Frankie's a serious actor, by the way. Actor.
I don't know why at the Chiclets Cup. I mean, I think it's because it's funny, but like, it's something totally different than what we do. We just kind of go out there and do our thing. Like, I had lines and stuff. And
oh, wow.
Of course, they put it out on their social media of me like screaming in the locker room and yelling at Grinelli and my dad, who is our coach. Like, and like that, we were acting like there's a whole storyline of me being Daddy's little boy that was given the captaincy, and I kept calling him Daddy on the bench, and it started getting like really perverted and weird. Like, every time he'd like put me out, I'd be like, "Thank you, Daddy," and like give him a little like smooch on the cheek and stuff. Like, it was fucking straight. Oh yeah,
I will say it was funny. Like, Frankie was a good actor, but all the roles he was playing were either like he was really angry or he was really weird and like perverted.
Yeah.
He crushed those roles. So
Method
we got dropped off in the desert at one point. Like, I mean, it was fucking weird. Like, it was a lot of weird scenes. Like, at one point we were just in the desert of Nevada, and like doing weird shit. Like I was crying, like literally tears and sobbing coming out of my face. Like,
is this gonna come out in a full video or did it come out on the? Okay,
it's gonna come out. It's gonna come out as a full, highly produced, edited video with microphones.
It's like a series, right? We're gonna do like a
snot
series
coming out of my nose and crying in the desert.
I love it.
Emmy winning shit. So, definitely keep an eye out for that because, like, you know, branded. We call him branded content Rob. He was on one that week, and he was a director. He was Scorsese. It was phenomenal. So I'm really excited to see it.
I'm glad you guys had fun. I'm glad you guys had a connection. It's like Ricky Bobby and I can't even think of that movie right now. But it sounds like
Talladega
you guys had
Nights.
Talladega Nights. A great connection between the two of you.
Shake and
Quickly, before we move on to the PGA Tour stuff, what happened with that picture, and how did you allow for that to happen to you, Frankie?
Dude, I don't know how that got out there. I was having a drink of an ice cold pink Whitney with my pal Rudy, who's one of the better looking people on the planet.
Yep. Which
didn't help that he was standing next to me. And somebody in front of me, I think it was a professional photographer, was snapping photos around just the area, the event. And I took a sip of the drink and then laughed about something. The camera angle was low. I obviously have no facial structure anywhere beneath my... I think someone once said that the only thing separating like my feet to my lips to my feet is my nipples. Like, so there's nothing there. John Feidelberg said that my skull is one of those dodgeballs, like the really squishy red dodgeballs. And this photo came out of me, and I guess Devlin got 1,000 pictures sent to him or something. They just kept sending him pictures of the event so he could put it on Viva La Stool, and he sent it out to whoever. He saw an opportunity to really, you know, make some content, and I do not blame him for that. It's a funny photo. I put out the original fat photo of myself. I was a little rattled at first, saying, what the fuck? Dude, they took the photo, and by the time I sat down, it was already viral on Twitter of people calling me the ugliest person. Not only were people calling me fat, but they were like, I was hideous. And I agree. I was fucking hideous.
I
looked like Cowboy Joe West. Fucking KFC put that picture up. I looked like Cowboy Joe West. I had a fucking floppy vagina underneath my mouth.
Look, I'm the first guy to attack when you're vulnerable, Frankie. I think it was a hatchet job because you were eating something. It was like you were biting into something or chewing something, and anyone on earth, if it's taken from below their chin while they're mid-bite, that's like not a...
Trent, that's a vulnerable spot.
That's not eligible to be a bad photo.
I'm mid-sip of a drink and laughing. I mean, that means everything out there is kind of inflated, and you're just trying to just get it down.
The original Moonface one, you were smiling, trying to look good. Like, that's fair. That one's eligible. This one was...
under the face is the danger zone, for sure. And, like, coming from under there and looking at it, you didn't look great, but
listen, it's not really angles. I have a fat face. I got to get it under control. I'm moving into the new house. I'm going to get back on the Peloton. Everything's just been too much. I'm telling you right now, I'm getting this shit under control. Maybe I'll use the wedding as like a diet plan. Like, I know a lot of people say shred for the wed. I need something because it's getting bad. Every night I sit down, I go into bed and I say, what did I eat today? And it's a fucking nightmare. There's cheese, there's sauce, there's fried food. We got to get better. We all have to get better at eating. I will get better at eating. I'm going to keep staying active. I mean, I can barely move my body from playing 5 games of roller hockey in Vegas. Every part of my body hurt. My fingers hurt. My arms hurt. My elbows hurt. It's nuts. So, yeah, we got to get more active so that we can golf and be healthy.
Speaking of being active, it's time to get active for Valentine's Day shoppers. All right, you're living life on the edge. This is a friendly reminder brought to you by 1-800-Flowers.com that Valentine's Day is here. Do not be the person that wakes up in sheer terror because you forgot. We've all been there before. It stinks. It's too late. You're trying to get reservations or gifts or flowers, and you've already blown it. Knock this out today. Lock in your order with 1-800-Flowers right now. That's 1-800-Flowers. They've got an amazing offer for our listeners. You get 24 assorted roses for $39.99 or upgrade to 24 red roses for $10 or more. That's a great last-minute deal. Whether it's an abundant bouquet of assorted roses or timeless red roses, you cannot go wrong with 1-800-Flowers. We use these guys every year, and it just delivers significant other in your life. Even if you want to send just maybe to your mother or even your sister, is like, hey, hope you have a lovely Valentine's Day. Here's some flowers. Everybody likes flowers, and nobody does it better than 1-800-Flowers. So do yourself, again, a favor. Think ahead. They've got 24 assorted roses for $39.99, or you can upgrade to 24 red roses for $10 or more. To order the 24 assorted roses for $39.99 or to upgrade for the 24 Red Roses for only $10 more. Go to 1-800-Flowers.com, click the radio icon, enter the code FORE. That is 1-800-Flowers.com. Little radio icon, click that puppy, use the code FORE, F-O-R-E. Hurry, offer expires Wednesday. So do yourself a favor again, hurry, get involved in the flowers. Last thing I'll say on the hockey front, I had some people like responding to tweets and stuff being like, holy shit, you're like better at hockey than you are at golf. Yeah, no shit. Like we fucking picked up golf, and got serious and into golf 5 or 10 years ago. Hockey was my whole life for 20 years. People are like, oh, you're a Harvard guy. You think I got into Harvard because of my academics? You got into Harvard because I was really good at a sport. Golf, when we go actually play golf with people that played their entire lives that are good at it, we fucking suck in comparison because those are some of the best people in the world at it. So no shit, we're going to be better at other stuff than we are at golf. So I just wanted to clear that up very quickly. Okay.
Very, very clear.
Unbelievably clear. Little programming note. Thursday, TaylorMade Kingdom. So probably for any golf nut out there, once you graduate from the other things in life that you used to be good at, and then you get obsessed with golf, I would say the TaylorMade Kingdom in Carlsbad, California is probably the coolest place you could possibly go. You walk in, they got Tiger Woods' set of clubs there. They put you in a little locker next to them. They got all these icons from, DJ to Rory to Matt Wolff to Tiger Woods, all their clubs, all their experiences being fitted there. And then they had our photos on the wall when we walked in, which was weird, I would say, to have our photos on the wall. Frankie put it well last time we talked about it, but the lovely receptionist that was there was like, yeah, I don't know, they put these people up there like a week ago. We're like, oh, that's us. She's like, oh, you guys are real people. That's fucking weird. I can't believe you're on the wall. What do you guys do? We don't know. We just kind of talk about golf and the outer space and hockey and shit. So then we got fitted. Hannah Cook was with us. She had never been there before either, so you get her first experience, our second experience, checking out the entire thing, the stealth driver, getting fitted for it. We had a long driving contest between Frankie and Lurch that ended in heroic fashion for our boy right here in the gray and the cool TaylorMade golf hat. So, yeah, I think people that are a little bit more golf nerdy fucking love this, and then people that are also just a little bit more fringe casual golfers love it because it's kind of the overall dream day scenario. Like you could just imagine being there. And then the golf nerds, we got the numbers from TrackMan, all the details on spin rates, on launch angles, on club head speed. You get all that combined with our action, and then them changing shafts and loft angles and everything else. So it's a good mix. I think people are going to love it.
Yeah, we really dive deep into the numbers, probably for the first time ever. Even the first time I went to the Kingdom, I know we kind of did a little bit of it, and we definitely got fitted, and people got to see. But I think for this video in particular, you see us trying to achieve certain numbers, and I've never done that before. I know that personally, right? I was trying to achieve a positive launch angle or attack angle, right? And launch angle. So like actually attacking, is it an attack angle or a launch angle?
Attack angle. You're trying to attack up on it.
So I do my first couple drives with the stealth and this new shaft that they put me in. I was actually 3 degrees down. So it's like it was a visual representation of like how you're not supposed to hit the golf ball. You're hitting down on it, it's gonna go down. With the driver, you want to hit up on it. And Rory has a 6 degree up attack angle, and I was 3 degrees down. So swing after swing, it's like lower that shoulder, twist your hips a little bit more, get it up. Let's get a different type of shaft on you. Like if you're trying to watch. If you're trying to figure out why you hit the ball too low or too high or too right, too left, watch the video and listen to what they say about what the numbers mean. They explain it like you're 5 years old, and that's what you need. You just need someone to say, your number is -2, and you need to get it to 4, and to get it to that point, you have to lower your left shoulder and hit up on the ball. It's like as simple as that. And I was literally doing that, and you could see I go from 250 carry to 292 carry within 10 swings. And it's so cool to be able to watch that video. And then the other thing I will say is they put me in the putting lab, and wait until you see the difference between, and the only thing that changed, they gave me 2 spider putters. The only thing that changed was one was a toe hang shaft, and the other one was a face balance putter. So one was a toe hang and one was face balance shaft. The only difference was those 2 shafts and 2 different variations of the spider. And my alignment was, I think it was 6 degrees different when I went to go approach the ball to go putt. So one was like 6 degrees off from the hole, and the other one was 0.5% off from the hole. So that difference right there, it's just, where is your shaft supposed to be? Where is the weight supposed to be distributed? And then all of a sudden you're just aligned at the hole. You don't miss putts. Like, That makes such a big difference. So, and I know not everyone's going to get that experience. They're not going to be able to go to the labs, but at least now you'll know when you go to your like Dick's Sporting Goods or your Golf Galaxies or your PGA Superstores, you're going to say, oh, like I kind of hit it like Frankie, or I pushed my putts to the left. He got switched to a toe hang putter. Can I try that out? And maybe I'm more aligned more. So I'm telling you right now, it's going to be a great video to watch. Thursday night, YouTube. We'll be in the chat. I'm very excited for this one. There's a lot of numbers that we really dive deep into, and I think it's the first time we've done that. And I think we're going to start adding that, by the way, to our videos. Like, I really want to start doing launch stuff. I think that's really interesting, and I think it's also starting to become a little bit more accessible to the average golfer, these numbers. You can just go to any fucking 5-iron golf or simulator. You can start seeing this stuff.
The full swing launch monitors, we became pretty close to those guys. We were out there in California with them. Frankie spent 3 or 4 days with them. They sent me one of their launch monitors probably 2 months ago that I've been using, and I've been out of town a lot for Christmas, all that ever since. But I started using it last week a lot after we hung out with them. It is so eye-opening having the numbers, and you feel versus real. Everyone talks about that in golf. Feel versus real. You feel like you're doing one thing, then you look at it on video or you look at the actual numbers and it's significantly different. And every good player on earth attacks the ball from the inside, and shitty players on this earth attack the ball from the outside, like a weak over the top motion. And the full swing that we were using, the TrackMans they had out at the Kingdom, which again, we get all this on video, but it's really interesting how you can feel like, oh yeah, I'm attacking it from the inside, and look, and you're just not. And you need to change a few things. And then if you actually attack the ball from the inside of the ball, out, or with a driver, you come through and you're actually swinging up on the golf ball. Like Rory McIlroy, we talked about this Colt Knost a few weeks ago, but Rory McIlroy like swings up 5 degrees on his golf ball when he actually attacks it. And everyone, the general consensus thought, what you build in with the habits is to hit down on the golf ball with irons and with wedges, and then all of a sudden you got to do something completely different with a driver. So learning that stuff and then applying it and being able to see on the numbers how you're actually doing it, and then watch it work in real time is really fucking cool. So Foreplay Golf on YouTube Thursday night, I think 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is when we usually put them up. That video will be out, and then on Tuesday next week, we have Tommy Fleetwood, our first video of our TaylorMade Golf Media Day series. I think we have almost 20 fucking videos that we filmed in 2 or 3 days down there. But we got Tommy Fleetwood on Tuesday with the boys down in Florida, out there around the green messing around with us. So that kicks off kind of our TaylorMade professional athlete, TaylorMade athletes. We got all kinds of their top stars, women, men, us, playing golf, new clubs, stealth, all kinds of cool shit. That starts on Tuesday. So a lot of good stuff coming on the Foreplay YouTube channel.
We've got 184,000 YouTube subscribers right now, which is awesome. Thank you to everyone that's already done that. We need to get to 190,000 YouTube subscribers. So I want everyone right now, we're in the middle of the podcast. We're only like 28 minutes in. I know you're still listening. So you're listening to this podcast right now. Whoever's listening to us, you are doing it. Go to YouTube while you're listening to me speak to you. Go to your YouTube app. You're going to have a login. You have a Gmail. You figure it out. You have an account. You watch fucking YouTube on your TV. You have this. You don't have to go to the browser. Go to the app. Go to the little top right corner. Hit that search bar and go to Foreplay Golf. You're going to see a channel pop up. It's going to have a green little logo of a Bryson DeChambeau silhouette who we don't like the guy. We like the guy. We don't like the guy. He's still our logo. He's dropping a ball from knee height. It's a new rule. You're going to click on this channel. You're going to see 184,000 subscribers. Hopefully, if you're listening to this at night, you've got a lot more. I want you right now to go to that page and hit subscribe. There is a fucking button right there on the main page. It's right underneath. It's on top. It's a nice red. Actually, it might not even be red. Is it red and then it turns white? It says subscribe. I don't know, Trent. You kind of threw me off with that color there. I don't know if it's red. It might be white. I'm not sure. I know that the word says subscribe. Hit the fucking subscribe button. This is what's going to happen. We've got 18 weeks worth of videos coming out. You're not going to want to miss those. So when you have these videos coming out, you're going to be able to set alerts. The alerts are going to come on. Foreplay just released a video with Tommy Fleetwood. Foreplay just released a video with Rory McIlroy. Foreplay just released a video with Dustin Johnson, Colin Morikawa, fucking Sergio Garcia. The list is going to go on and on. You're never going to miss one. It's going to be fucking best content we've ever put out for the next 18 weeks. There's only 52 weeks in a year. We got 18 weeks worth of Tuesday videos coming out from TaylorMade. TaylorMade Tuesdays is going to be fucking off the charts. You have to go subscribe. And then when we hit 190,000 subscribers, Trent and I are going to play that fucking PGA 2K21 video game, and we're not going to go to sleep until we get a hole-in-one. We're going to play. Last time it took us 16 and a half hours. Trent almost had a fucking heart attack. We almost had to call the police and the ambulance to burst into that fucking guy's room and make sure you shoot him with some fucking sugar in his neck, because he had no snacks. He had nothing. He almost fucking relapsed on the floor because he had no fucking sugar intake.
You sprung it on me at the last second. I didn't have time to get supplies.
This is what we had. So, and what else we're doing is during that hole-in-one challenge, we're raising money for the First Tee program. We've already raised $2,000. So this is going to be a big event. When we hit 190,000 subscribers, we're doing a hole-in-one challenge. All you have to do listening to this, we know the numbers, guys. All right? We're going to get into the golf talk, so don't get too mad at me about still talking about this. We know the numbers. We know hundreds of thousands of you listen to this. You're listening to me right now. I need 6,000 people to go hit subscribe. Isn't that fucking crazy? Just fucking go do it. It's so simple.
Just go do it.
It's like a fucking percentage of you people. Just go click that, please.
Less than 1% of you need to just go onto your YouTube app and just hit it. Just hit subscribe. Like, imagine everyone did it. We'd have 100,000 subscribers. If everyone just listened to it, I know that it's annoying. It's a couple of clicks. Your thumbs aren't moving the way they used to. Just go do it. All right? Now let's get into the golf talk. That's enough plugging. Thank you, everyone. Go do it. It makes a huge difference. All right? It's a new year. We've got a lot of shit coming up. It makes a huge difference for us. All right? We're not asking you for cash. We're not asking you for your fucking livelihoods to be on the line. We're asking you to hit a fucking button on an iPhone. All right? And if you're on a Droid, don't even bother.
Phil Mickelson. So Phil Mickelson with some explosive comments. He was asked while over in Saudi Arabia, where he makes an appearance fee like almost everyone in the field, or probably everyone in the field. He was asked about the situation with the Saudi Golf League. Greg Norman, we know about it. We've talked about it at length. Phil had several notable comments, which have then drawn all sorts of reactions. So we are here to go through it all. First, I had to talk about Animules, all right? They're talking about new game over there, new golf, maybe new golf league, maybe a new format. You want a new format when you play golf, Animules, okay? Just go download the app. Please go download the app, use it. It's completely different. It's a new way to play. Skill level are pretty much out the window. This is about hitting cart paths, hitting it into bunkers, 3-putt and 4-putt and lipping out. You can accumulate these animals. If you do accumulate these Animules, boom, when the cart person, male, female, I don't know, it could be either, pulls up, that round is on you. It's a whole different way to play. The app makes it much better and much cooler too, because they got great logos. They got cool Animules. That's ANAMULES. Go download it today. Available for free in Apple and Android app stores. These guys are cool. I play golf with them. They're from they're Minnesota. They're Midwestern nice, like we talked about earlier. They've had all these cool little chirps and lexicon with their buddies for years, and they put it all into an app. Got developers, and it's very fun, and they got a cool logo, and all the animals are fun to play with. And you can hit a rock, and all of a sudden you've got, it's just cool. It's very fun. It's very different, like I said. So do yourself a favor, go download the app, Animules, ANAMULES. Play for free. Download it for free in the Apple and Android app stores. Play golf a different way. Throw the score out the window. Have yourself a great time. Animules. Okay. Phil Mickelson said, among many things, he described in very interesting detail and very interesting words the situation with the PGA Tour, media rights, his frustrations, and he said it is the tour's, quote, obnoxious greed that has really opened the door for opportunities elsewhere, of course, alluding to this potential Saudi Arabian-backed golf league. Now, he would go on to say it's not public knowledge, all that goes on, but the players don't have access to their own media. If the tour wanted to end any threat from Saudi or anywhere else, they could just hand back the media rights to the players, but they would rather throw $25 million here, $40 million there, than give back the roughly $20 billion in digital assets they control, or give up access to the $50+ million they make every year on their own media channel. Now, what really makes all of this so fucking fascinating is that there are so many different elements to it, almost all of which are true. And all of those things happening at the same time, while all happening under kind of the overall underlining theme of like Saudi-backed money where they butcher journalists, is crazy, because in this part, if you want to talk about, you can't film or you can't put out your own shots, and there's a certain value to controlling your own media, and the tour makes millions and millions and millions of dollars on your own media, that's one conversation. It kind of stays in the silo of sports and golf. And then when you all of a sudden, again, put it in the context of why people were so mad at the players for entertaining Saudi money and all these horrible regimes and the things that they do, it muddies the waters to such a degree that it makes any other debate, even inside of it, seem so ridiculous and minuscule. And there's so many different things, of course, going on at the same time that it gets really tricky to talk about. And obviously, Phil Mickelson calling someone else or pointing out someone else's obnoxious greed is going to, from everyone else, come off as wildly ironic and ignorant and selfish, because Phil Mickelson himself just made and won the $8 million prize for the PIP. He's made hundreds of millions of dollars in his PGA Tour career. His membership on the PGA Tour is what has led to him making hundreds of millions of dollars, and so on and so forth. However, it is also true that the PGA Tour is insanely annoying and shitty to deal with when it comes to media rights and broadcasting rights. We don't go to PGA Tour events for that reason. We can't film anything. The first time Trent and I ever went to an event, the Zurich Classic, we did a fucking team building little video with Beef and Kyle Reifers. It promoted the team event, the first team event they'd had since 1982. It was great. They made us take it down. We told the story about how it got to get taken down. They called and said they'd never work with us ever again. And every other media outlet on earth has had to go through the same experience with the PGA Tour. And the players themselves are in an incredibly ironic spot because they are incentivized with the PIP program, which is them benefiting from media exposure on their own action on the PGA Tour. But the only people that control all of that digital assets are the PGA Tour. So how the fuck can you have a much bigger footprint in the digital world as a PGA Tour player and what you do inside the ropes if you don't even control those fucking assets? So they're upset about that. And all of this, again, is backed by a potential threat from Saudi Arabian money. And the whole thing, boys, is fascinating. We've only gotten to one fucking quote from Phil Mickelson so far.
All right. So I read these quotes just like everybody else. And they are certainly explosive. But I want to admit to you and all the listeners out there that when I read them, he expresses the things in such detail to the point where I don't even really know what he's talking about. Like when he talks about the media rights, where he wants the PGA Tour, if they want to incentivize or they want to, combat this Saudi Arabian-backed golf league, give us our rights back, and he wants all of them. This $20 billion number that I don't know where he got that from. He's smarter than I am, so he's probably coming from a good place.
Nobody knows where that number's from, by the way. Nobody people are trying
knows.
to find that number, and nobody knows where that comes from.
It's a huge number.
My question to you guys, and I guess to Phil and people who are smarter than me, in a world where everything happens the way that Phil Mickelson wants it to happen in terms of these rights, what does that even look like? You know what I mean? Like he's talking about all of the rights that the PGA Tour has to their golfers and the people that are part of their league. If he wants all of that given back and put into the hands of the players so they can control their media, what systems do we lose? What infrastructure is in place that makes it so the players don't even have to worry about that stuff and actually helps promote their brand? Obviously, not having some of it hurts them for sure, but if you are going to give back all of these broadcasting rights and these media rights and these digital rights to their actual videos and their play, what does that look like in that world for golfers?
Here's a quote that I think kind of pertains to this, but Phil said, if I had access to my own channel and access to my own media, I would have a camera and microphone on my hat. I would bring viewers in. They would see and hear what is going on, but none of that happens because why would any player do that? To make more millions for the tour? They already make enough.
Okay. But in that scenario, I'm talking about the nitty gritty of like who operates the cameras. How do the cameras get there? How does this actually get video and filmed and then put out? Like right now, the world that they're living in, sure, maybe it's certainly in the favor of the PGA Tour and the way that they run it. But if you want to go and swing the pendulum in the way of Phil Mickelson, I feel like the infrastructure completely goes away, and then it's in the hands of the actual players to make a channel that Phil wants, to hire the cameraman that Phil wants to film him so he can put out these clips. Am I wrong, or is it he's wanting it to happen in a way that seems that it wouldn't work out for him?
No, I think you're spot on. And I actually would equate it a little bit I think you could equate it a little bit to our situation, right? Like we work for Barstool Sports. Barstool Sports pays us a salary, and then we have chances to be incentivized to make bonuses. But Barstool Sports handles selling all of our content. They handle distribution of our content. They own, obviously, our content once we create it, but they also handle the logistics. They handle the finances on the back end, right? Like me, Trent, and Frankie don't have to go front flights to go everywhere. We don't have to go find cameramen or producers. We don't have to pay them. Barstool Sports handles all of that. That's part of the deal. And then Barstool Sports obviously owns X, Y, and Z. And I think that's a lot of what you're saying, Trent, which is like, okay, so he's starting his own media company? Now, like, what is he exactly going to do? Like, the PGA Tour takes X cut, whatever that is. You could argue it's fair, not fair. We don't know enough about it. But, like, they take X cut because they handle all of that. They deal with all of that. They sell the sponsors to the tournament. They they come up with the prize pools. You get paid for that. The broadcasting negotiations and the billions of dollars that CBS, NBC, Golf Channel, Golf Digest, all these companies pay for broadcasting rights, digital rights, ESPN paid for digital rights, all this stuff. Like when that gets trickled back through PIP programs, through prize pools, through retirement IRAs that they have, whatever it is, like that's clearly part of the deal of being a member of the PGA Tour. So to Trent's point, it's like, what is he gonna like move into a TikTok house and like what is he gonna do?
Right, like, and I don't want to sound like I'm on the side of the PGA Tour because what Phil is talking about essentially is massive disruption, and we love disruption. Like if media didn't have disruption, we wouldn't exist. Like that's a way to enter the space. I don't know. Sometimes when Phil talks, like he sounds very smart and big idea'd here, and people are clearly talking about these quotes and they're very interesting. I just don't know. I don't know if it's realistic at all. And maybe it's realistic for a guy like Phil. Phil Mickelson might be one of the guys on tour who is in a position to start his own network, start his own channel, start his own media company, and there's going to be enough eyeballs and there's going to be enough money and there's going to be enough people willing to help him that he can get it done. But he's one of 8 guys on tour who could potentially do this. So I just don't know what the idea actually is. I like that there's new ideas getting thrown around. I'll tell you that. As shitty and horrible as the Saudi-backed league is in a lot of ways, he mentioned this too, Phil, that it creates leverage for the PGA Tour players because it's a different option for players. So that all I understand. But this huge idea that we're just going to get rid of media rights and we're going to give them all to the players and they're all going to handle it, that seems like not that realistic.
Yeah, Phil kind of reminded me of myself where he said a lot of words and some of them made sense and he lost a lot of people with some other quotes. I mean, there's lines here that Riggs kind of laid out for us that Phil said in line 3 here where he talks about how the tour charges him $1 million each time he's played in the match, which is an exhibition that he went out and essentially did, right? Like this was something that they did as an exhibition and they got the talent and they figured out the new structure and it's something completely totally different than the tour, and the tour charges him $1 million to basically go and do that. We've seen the tour do that with us where it's like you're not allowed to put a video out on Thursday because we own the players during Thursday to Sunday. That to me is a little crazy, and I can see where he can get the word obnoxious greed from that, where it's like, hey, I'm only getting this money from the match because of how well I've played and how I've elevated myself. I understand that I've used you as the platform and the stepping stone, but if I don't play well, succeed, and do my own personal achievements, I'm not getting the match, and I'm not getting paid to do that as an exhibition. So he shouldn't have to pay them fucking shit. If anything, he's elevating the PGA Tour by doing matches on random days that there's no tournaments, if that makes any sense to you guys. He's helping them promote them. He's promoting the fucking game of golf. Where he loses me is where you guys are saying, where he's going to turn his own media company into like the Phil Mickelson production. That's never going to happen. Guys aren't going to do that. They get paid for a reason. The PGA Tour takes the money for a reason because they're doing everything you guys are saying. So it's kind of like in that sense where he's saying that they take all the money and I should just start my own company, it kind of reminds me of like a John Tortorella in hockey where he hates the media. And whenever I always used to watch one of his post-game press conferences and he wouldn't even talk to the media, I'd always say to myself, why do you think you're a fucking professional hockey coach, that you get to coach a game for a living? It's because of all those assholes that you call them with reporting little notepads and they're asking you dumb questions that you like scoff off and make fun of them for. It's the only reason you are who you are. So give into it a little bit. Like, that is why you're playing a game for a living and you're not in the fucking cube crunching numbers like my buddy Rob that's never laughed for a fucking second. I don't take this job for granted for a second because I know it's a fucking fake life. We get to do stuff that we've never been able to do. So I'm not like joking and saying like, oh, fuck Barstool Sports. Like, that's the only reason we're here. It's the only reason I'm not in a fucking pizza shop. So like Phil Mickelson, like, give the tour some fucking credit for building something that has allowed you to make hundreds of millions of dollars. Am I going crazy right now? Like, what? You're just a fucking guy that hits a white golf ball around if you don't have the PGA Tour. You're just a guy with a really good fucking skill and a hobby that's selling carpets in fucking San Diego, California. Like, what are we talking about here?
And that's right. And I think everyone could probably sense there's a lot of excitement in my voice because as shitty and crazy as all of this is, it's fantastic. Like, the drama and all of the craziness behind it is fucking awesome. And I think a couple things. One, which Trent hit on, is the leverage thing, right? Phil, many times throughout the couple interviews that he's posted that went crazy last week, talked about leverage. And Phil is a very smart, calculated man. He's always thinking 2 or 3 steps ahead. There's no way he says the things that he said, that he used obnoxious greed without understanding how it's going to come off and having a pretty good idea of like what road that's going to lead the conversation down. So I think leverage is the main point, and he understands that. He actually said, the tour only understands leverage. Now the players are getting some of that. So he knows that this probably the best vantage, the best thing that he can use this whole Saudi-backed league for is leverage so they can get X, Y, and Z. It's already worked to a degree with the pit pool and $50 million they're going to play for now. It's already clearly worked to a degree, and they're going to hope as the players that it works more. What I love about this whole situation, the reason I'm excited about it, is because every single side of this thing, there are parts you could agree with and be like, yeah, they make a lot of sense. And there are parts where you could be like, these fucking people are the shittiest idiots in the world. And, a big part, right, with the PGA Tour, what we're talking about right now, we're defending the PGA Tour against Phil Mickelson, but also we despise most of the PGA Tour's policies and qualities. When we went to the President's Cup and we got that viral video of us with Tiger Woods that set the whole golf media, old man golf world on fire, like the only way we were able to get that was to negotiate with the tour. Technically, that was in like an interview area. Tiger fucking Woods walked by us and fist pounded us for 30 seconds. We have to get like approval to put, like, what are you talking about? How can we need approval to put that anywhere? We needed serious approval to the point where Golf TV, Golf Digest were calling the PGA Tour media crew being like, you can't allow these videos to be out. They have to be taken down. They actually had to like fight and justify why they should be up. Like, what are we talking about here? It's a free media, should be a free media type situation. When we're on site at a PGA Tour event or a tournament, we should be able to capture and put out whatever the fuck we want. We're not broadcasting. Like, we're not competing against anybody's broadcasting rights. We're not broadcasting a PGA Tour production. And I chatted with my boys, Matt Janella and the Fire Pit Collective guys who were getting into it this weekend. I know they have a lot more coming out on it too, but it's like, we're not broadcasting anything. We're media. If we capture a video of something or a picture of something, we are highlighting your event. The PGA Tour should see that that's a good thing. They should see that Phil Mickelson playing a match against Tiger Woods is good for their product. All of these things are good for their product. Why are they trying to hurt them? Why are they trying to hold back? Why are they trying to harness? And Phil's reasoning in his mind is this obnoxious greed. And then at the same time, I can understand how their point against Phil would be like, you get X, Y, and Z because we do all of the heavy lifting. You play golf. You're very good at it. Good for you. We have branded this league. We have marketed this tour, this PGA Tour, these events. We've made them really big and prestigious and had all kinds of sponsors come in and raise the prize pools. And we've leveraged what Tiger Woods did so that you all make more money. And that's great. So everywhere has a good side. And then on the Saudi side, which is incredibly difficult to talk about because obviously it gets much larger and much more serious than golf. And the Jamal Khashoggi story, I mean, I came in to Barstool. I originally covered politics. So that story, I followed every detail of that story. It's absolutely horrific. And now you've got this regime backing a potential threat to the PGA Tour. It's absolutely crazy. But then the other counter side of that is like every decision that pretty much every human being we know makes is based on money. Everyone goes to work because of money. Frankie's boy, Rob, who's never smiled in his life, he goes through that day after day after day so he can make fucking money. That's literally what you do. So now you're offering to people generational wealth, okay? Hundreds of millions of dollars. So not just them will be happy. That's not even greed at that point. A lot of that is like, Okay, I will have financial security. My kids, and their fucking dogs and every person they've met will have financial security forever. And all I got to do is go over there and play in this tournament play in this league for 3 years or 5 years or 10 years. I don't give a fuck if it's like this is the regime or that's the regime or somebody in China. You can make the same argument about China and in tournament camps that they have, and they go play tournaments in China all the time. So if you're some PGA Tour player, I could see how you just be like, yeah, that sounds really shitty. I'm not in favor of what they did to the journalists at all. I think that's horrific, but I'm going to go take care of my family for the next 150 years. And can you really blame somebody for that or try to cast judgment on them for that? Like, no, I think we all could understand that to every single fucking imaginable degree, to where we had the discussion on the show of if they offered us $10 million a person for 5 years and all we had to do was we could only cover like that league. Are we going to say no to that? Probably not. Now I got Lurch's big dumb fucking face coming in the middle of his spiel, and he's got red. Why are you all red?
He said he'd come in like the Kool-Aid man. I think Trent said that, and he came in as red as ever.
I don't know what this light is behind me, but it makes me look like it's. I don't know. I'm burning.
It's one of those
up on
red
fire.
lamps that help you. That's
not
like
really. It's like
recovery lamp.
I mean, I was gonna obviously they can't do anything more than like what you're seeing right now. You're seeing the picture of it as how it would show up in a picture, but no, it looks like a regular old lamp. But yeah, it makes
like
me
red
glow.
light district. Start taking your clothes off.
You want to see that, Frank? You want to see my body?
It's a great point though, Riggs, and I don't actually. Yeah, the fact that you know so much about like the regime stuff and where the money's backing, I don't know a lot of it, so I think to the average person and the average fan of golf, they're just like, oh, to me, I don't know exactly what's going on over there. And I wish I did, because I think I'd have different opinions on it. But to me, I'm like, why wouldn't the guys go take the money? Because of everything you just said. If you blanket just a statement saying they take money from China, they take money from all these other places that are fucking horrible to people, why wouldn't they just go take money from Saudi Arabia? To me, that sounds very like the common answer is just like, why not?
Well, listen, all that horrible stuff, thinking about all that to me is not the reason why these guys are not going to go over there. The reason why they're not going to go over there is kind of what we're talking about with Phil, where they don't have you're going to go over there, and what are the broadcasting rights? Like, who is going to see you play? And what is in place for people to be able to see you? And, honestly, why I think these guys are saying no, and they can say whatever they want and however way they want to say it, but their earning potential goes way down if they're not in the public eye. And what the PGA Tour and all these events provide them is eyeballs and sponsorship opportunities. You go over there, sure, you take, what was the number that got thrown around for Bryson? $135 million? That's a shit ton of money. You take that money, but then what? You're not going to be on TV.
There's no but then after that, Trent. Who gives a fuck? He doesn't have to be on TV ever again.
Then why didn't he say yes?
That I don't have the answer.
And what I think, and he can say, and guys can say, and maybe some of them are telling the truth, that they don't agree with the Saudi regime and what has been going on over there, and it is all very horrible stuff. But in reality, what's getting taken away is what Phil wants given back to the players on this side of the pond. They're saying, oh, we're going to give up all these media rights, and where nobody's going to be able to see these guys playing golf. Maybe I have this wrong, and that's completely incorrect, but it feels that way to me.
Why are they giving guys or trying to give guys like Bryson DeChambeau $135 million or whatever the number is if they're not trying to show them on TV and make money? That's my why are people saying there's going to be no media rights? Like, where is the money?
You get the headline.
This is kind of our guy Eamon Lynch, who I tried to get on the show, and he said he's on a podcast hiatus right now, so he wouldn't come on the show, but he's, of course, extremely opinionated on this front. He's, I think, the most talented writer in golf. He's hilarious and pointed, and he absolutely needles the shit out of people with amazing, as a wordsmith. But his main takeaway is that the Saudi regime knows they're not creating this league to make money. You can't be offering hundreds of millions of dollars to everyone on fucking earth and make money. They're not doing it to grow golf. They don't give a shit about golf. Why? What are you talking about? What are these guys? Tom Pashley trying to grow golf at Pioneer? No, they're the Saudi fucking regime. The reason they're trying to do it is they're trying to normalize Saudi Arabia in the public eye with other folks. They're trying to basically, and he calls it sport washing, where they're basically using these athletes as like puppets to come over and be like, oh yeah, Saudi Arabia is great. We went over there for a week or 5 weeks out of the year and we had a good time. It's beautiful. And then people forget that they go and slaughter journalists and that they treat women horrifically. And in the public eye and the Western world, all of a sudden, like, Saudi Arabia is not that bad. We kind of like those people. And that's sort of, in his opinion, what their real, true, genuine objective is. They have billions and hundreds of billions of dollars. They're not trying to make a quick million on the new PGA Tour. They're trying to essentially cultivate their image in the Western world and in our world by using the things that we love and follow and trying to normalize them and mend them with their culture. That's sort of his take. And that any player that kind of agrees to do it, yes, while they're not out there saying, hey, I'm a beacon of like, political and ethical, morality, and I have this really sound moral compass. They're out there, basically allowing them to be used as puppets. Now, I think a lot of our take would be like, hey, like, go sign me. You're gonna give me $200 million. Sure, I don't give a fuck. I'll go play on the Persian Gulf and slap the ball around for 5 years, and then me and my family and every friend I've ever had will sail off into the sunset. And whatever you guys are fighting about back there geopolitically, good luck to you. I don't give a shit. And that's sort of why, on a larger scale, I think that's sort of where everything falls. I don't think that they're trying to like make necessarily money off of it. And I think you make a really good point, Trent, that like a lot of the reason these guys play golf, their whole lives and then ultimately get to the PGA Tour, yes, it's to make money, clearly, but also like legacy and where you fit in the game and trying to win these big tournaments for them is a real sense of purpose and accomplishment, and it's what they do in life. And if all of a sudden you're playing for like the Riyadh fucking Classic that nobody in Earth has ever cared about, or you're playing for, a major championship or for the Memorial Tournament with Jack Nicklaus standing behind the 18th green, like that's what they live for and what they want to play for, and not what's going on with the new league. And I think that probably factors in more than people are considering.
And hypothetically, let's a complete hypothetical. If Dustin Johnson agreed to whatever mass sum amount of money that they want him to go over and play in Saudi Arabia for however many years, whatever it is, does he have any sponsorships left? Once he says, I'm doing this, do the sponsors stay on board? His personal sponsors?
I doubt it.
It's
no. But does he need them though?
This is the question that they gotta ask themselves.
Does he need?
Well, I think the fee pays for basically all winnings and all sponsorships. Like he might be wearing a Saudi glove.
Right now, Dustin Johnson's like, hey, here's $10 million to rock TaylorMade golf clubs, and then Saudi Arabia's like, we're gonna give you $150 million to never have to worry about any of that ever again.
It'd be great if they put him in Saudi clothes and Saudi shoes.
It's just
got like the prince is just on his glove, and that's just it. Yeah, I mean, that's like the Queen of England's on like the Canadian money. That's like not if that's like what they want to do. And again, there's certain people that if you're going to pay me $150 million, people are going to say yes.
The money and the sponsorships is not the reason why they're not doing this. That like they're not saying no to $150 million because they're not allowed to get sponsorship money, and the math doesn't add up there. They're saying no for other reasons. Like the money, they obviously would take the money over anything they're making in the U.S.
But I think it kills your earning potential, murders it.
But they're making 70 times more than what they would be making per year. I mean, think about like what Patrick Cantlay made this year on the PGA Tour. Like that, he fucking lit the world on fire and made what, like $22 million? They're going to give Bryson DeChambeau 135 schmil. He'll hit fucking Nike Sasquatches if he has to for that money. What are you, crazy?
Yeah, that's where you don't know, because nobody's going to be honest about like what's actually going through their mind in terms of a decision-making process. So, yeah, you can say that it's not about the money. It's that I don't support what's going on in Saudi Arabia. I just wonder how much of a mix it is in terms of like who's actually looking at this money being like, I might take this money.
I would say every single one of the guys would want to take the money.
I've joined late here. Did anyone in this group switch? Like, is anyone in this group saying like, no, I'm above this money?
Well, no, we haven't really done it that way at all. Like, we haven't talked about it that way at all.
No, we're talking about the players specifically.
Got it.
Yeah. I think like any decision, they're not just weighing one thing in its own vacuum, right? I think that what Trent's saying is right. Like if Patrick Cantlay made $20-something million in 2021, he's still got 30 years of earning potential, playing professional golf, sponsorships each year, and he is not giving up anything, right? He's not giving up his reputation. He's not giving up the ability to play in majors, his PGA Tour membership. He's doing everything the way that people have done it forever. He's doing it the same way Jack Nicklaus and Sam Snead and Tiger Woods and Phil Mickelson did it. Whereas to Trent's point, like if they offer Patrick Cantlay $75 million to go play in the Saudi League for 5 years, well, all those other bridges are now burned, gone. He made $20 million last year, so he's like, well, I might be able to make close to that, or even if I can't, I can make close to that over the next 25, 30 years. So like it's close enough that it's not just a no-brainer. Now, if you're Bryson DeChambeau and they're like, yeah, we're going to pay you $135 million. Everybody already hates you over there. So just fucking go play here for 5 years and then just disappear into the sunset. You already made a quote or said a quote about how you're considering giving up the game of golf. So then you're going to be 33, 34 years old. You've got $135 million in the bank. See you later. So I think those are kind of different considerations.
I wonder if that was part of their pitch to Bryson. People fucking hate you in the States. So like, who cares? What do you got to lose coming with us? No, I don't. I agree. There's levels, and that was a good comparison. Cantlay and Bryson. Like Bryson, you're talking about money that's just like holy shit, man. Cantlay, I think there's room to operate where he can make just as much, win tournaments and on a tour that people acknowledge, majors that people acknowledge, and it's a conversation for sure.
I think all that goes into them wanting to stay in the PGA Tour. I agree with you guys. I'm just saying you put two checks in front of a guy, one that's blank and says earn this money because you have to perform well for the next 25 years, or here's a check and you never have to hit a golf ball the same way ever again. You just get to be yourself and then you're going to retire forever. I'm saying in a vacuum, which I know these decisions aren't made, every single person on planet Earth, regardless of where the money came from, takes option B. Because you don't have to do anything. You don't have to win a tournament. You don't have to fucking grind. I think Patrick Cantlay wants to play golf for the next 25 years and make $135 million. He'd rather just get a check and just direct deposit into his bank account.
But the irony of that question is the people who get the biggest check put in front of them have the highest earning potential.
Yes, but they still have to perform.
Yeah, but I also think there's an element of that's what they love. But that's what they love to do, right? Like they love to play golf. That's like their whole life. That's their purpose. That's what they do when they wake up each day. That's why Tiger Woods doesn't play because he needs to earn another $100 million. He's coming back from fucking 80,000 broken bones and backs and muscles because he wants to like win again. That's what he likes to do. So I think, again, like when you look at each case, it's quite different. I mean, I'm looking at this right now. Number 3rd ranked player in the world, Victor Hovland. I think Victor Hovland has almost no reason to go do that. Like he's young, whatever he is, 22, 23. He's got his whole career in front of him. He's going to emerge, I think, as one of the great players of like this generation, and his legacy matters, and he's beloved over here, and his earning potential is huge. I don't think he has any reason whatsoever to consider jumping ship. Whereas I look at a guy like Bryson DeChambeau, I think he's got a lot of reasons to consider jumping ship. Like he could be the face of that league, and a Patrick Reed, or even like obviously a Phil Mickelson. He's 30 years older than Victor Hovland, but like I could see why Phil Mickelson would consider it. So I think it's case by case. It's a lot different per person.
Right. Somewhere in this Venn diagram of legacy, tournaments, real majors, there's a name somewhere in there. I don't know who it is, and I don't know if someone will actually take it, but somewhere with all of these different things going on, there's a player sitting there who's probably like 33 years old who's just like, yeah, I think I'm going to do this. Because he gets
rubbing
crazy
shoulders
money.
with his agent, just being like, agent, you got to start figuring out this deal, buddy. Because I'm that
we're
guy.
taking this. Think we're taking this, buddy. I don't know.
Patrick Reed would be the ultimate heel turn if, even further than he's already gone. But he, to me, wants to win over here, and probably in his heart of hearts thinks that he can make a shit ton of money doing it over here.
Here's the other thing I would say too, though, is the PGA Championship and the U.S. Open are not saying no to these players. These organizations make 90+% of their revenue every year on the U.S. Open. So if you have a Bryson DeChambeau, who's their 2020 U.S. Open champion at Winged Foot, if he takes this money, goes and plays in the Saudi League, and then he's like, yeah, I'm playing in the U.S. Open, I don't think the USGA is saying no. I think they're like, yep, of course he's fucking playing in the U.S. Open.
God, imagine him popping up a couple times a year, just like, "Hey, remember me? Remember
I'm
me?
back, baby.
I'm back."
But what did he miss? The John Deere Classic. Okay. I mean, I'm sorry, but what are we talking about here? We get up for the majors. That's what we do. We're not grinding over the fucking John Deere. So if I don't see Bryson DeChambeau between April and fucking July. You think I give a fuck? I don't know. I don't know what he's doing there anyway. What's he playing in? Where is he playing? The Minnesota Classic? Like, what are we talking about?
Yeah, and that's the line, right? Like, that's sort of where you
That's a huge line.
No, it is. And
Right.
guys can start to be like, no, the reason I'm not going is because of all these things about the Saudi regime. Or you're just like, I'm going.
Yeah, I don't know where their heads are at. I do know the reactions from the guys like Brooks Koepka and Brandel. Can we read some of those quotes? The Brooks Koepka quote was fucking sharp as a knife.
Yeah, I'm going to hit you with a couple of these quotes. First, I got to hit you with Notion. Hybrid work becoming the norm, which is true. That has become the norm. We're hybrid working all the time. Lurch is a hybrid working king, I feel like. The strongest teams have two things in common, speed and alignment. Do you think
I like that. That's the golf swing?
Speed and alignment is pretty much what you need, right?
That is. I mean, if you can have speed and alignment with the club, you're knocking things out of the park.
I got to get to this at the end of the show, but I had a lesson last night. I kind of teased it before.
I saw.
We're gonna have to get
what a spot that was for a lesson. It looked like you were kind of in
nice.
it was like the back den of some guy's house. It felt like.
Dude, there was snow on the ground. I could see a little snow on the ground.
Crazy.
Can't even begin to tell this setup, but we'll get into that later. But yeah, speed and alignment's incredibly important.
How was your speed and alignment last night? Pretty good.
It's nuts when you see how bad we are when you're talking to someone that knows it and they show you the before and after.
I want to know.
People were laughing laugh out loud results. Laugh out loud results.
For companies of all sizes, Notion provides one central and customizable workspace that can be tailored to fit any team and bring all teams together to get more done and move faster. Notion is an all-in-one team collaboration tool, combines note-taking, document sharing, wikis, project management, and much more into one space that's simple, powerful, and beautifully designed. With powerful integrations and seamless navigation, you'll have everything you need in one spot so you can take speed and make it your advantage without the silos and context switching that slow companies down. We don't want to be slowed down. We want to be fast. We want to be aligned well. Learn more and get started for free at notion.so. You can check it out on your own and invite as many folks as you want to see how it works. Take the first step towards an organized, happy team today, again, at notion.so. A few of these quotes responding to Phil Mickelson's comments. Brooks Koepka on Instagram wrote, DK, don't know if I'd be using the word greedy if I'm Phil, ... Another aggressive shot from Brooks Koepka. Brandel Chambly, who I saw Saturday night actually at the Waste Management kickoff party, he just handed me a beer, and he's like, Riggsy, great to see you. Him and his wife, Bailey, who are awesome. We got to get Brandel back on the show. I fucking love that guy. But he said, this was aggressive. He called Phil a highly paid ventriloquist puppet involved in a sport washing operation.
Oh, man.
Boom.
People have been wanting to take these shots, clearly.
Oh,
yeah, I guess that's true.
time.
That punch has been
Big
stored
time.
back here, just like, no, you say one thing. You say one thing, I'm ready.
And I think
Eamon
Phil
Lynch.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Trente.
Well, I think Phil exposed himself a little bit here. Like, he's just, to Frankie's point earlier, I do think a certain percentage of these comments were just like, I'm Phil and I'm going to start talking. And I'm just going to I'm going to sound smart. And some of the things he said were very smart. But he just kind of was like, I'm going to change everything. And people are going to be like, you're super rich and we are not going to like allow you to say those things.
Eamon Lynch, who again is one of our favorites, we will, before we are done with this show, years down the road, maybe decades, who knows, we will have that man on this show because I love him. He's one of my favorite people in golf.
The words he uses just you basically get beheaded by his English. You know what I mean?
You need a thesaurus. You need a thesaurus to like read through his fucking.
I can barely get through it.
He's a fantastic writer.
At best, Mickelson's words suggest that what he possesses in self-regard, he lacks in self-awareness. And at worst, that he's a willing dissembler for a government bent on using golf to sport wash its human rights, depredations, and war crimes.
Woo!
Damn.
I would just say, this guy's aligning himself with the wrong people. Like, you know what I mean? So different. We get
Doesn't
the same
seem
point
like the
across.
right fit. Yeah.
Bad motherfuckers he's with.
Phil had a bad fucking week this week. He's like doing some shady shit with the Saudi Arabian guys. And then this guy comes out with sport wash, it's human right depredation and war crimes. I gotta start reading more books.
Another one, he says, he quotes Phil here. He goes, My ultimate loyalty is to the game of golf and what it has given me, Mickelson told old Hugsy, a statement that could only gain credibility if all but the first 5 words and the last one were deleted, in which case it would say, he didn't need to put this part, but we're dumb, so I had to. My ultimate loyalty is to me.
Yeah. Now he's like throwing riddles at us, and that's
true.
Big
time. It took me a while to get through that one. And then the last one that I put in from Eamon is it's Mickelson's greatest liability is a burning need to be the smartest guy in the room.
And that is the one that I agree with the most. And Phil would never say that, but he like likes to be center of attention, smart guy, and being like, watch, I'm seeing 10 moves ahead of you guys. So, yeah, he exposed himself a little bit.
What an amazing writer he is.
He's really
Reminds me
good.
of a movie where a guy's writing a book and you can hear him saying it.
It does
the greatest game ever played. The greatest game they ever played. He was like they do that when he's like, Francis, we met, started the way that he writes, and you can hear the typewriter and him thinking about it.
It does help that we've interacted with him so much that you know that a lot of what he says is drenched in sarcasm and just like a biting wit. That it definitely adds to the experience. But he's a good writer regardless.
All right. That was a lot of the reactions. I think we went through that pretty good. We got Bryson as well, who's sort of tied into this whole thing because I think it was Daily Mail reported that Bryson was offered $135 million to be the face of the Saudi Golf League. He declined to speak to the media following his first round at the Saudi International, but on his official Instagram, he replied to the report as just, quote, wrong. He didn't specify which part was wrong. He didn't specify anything. He just wrote that it was wrong. Then he ended up withdrawing with injuries, and he posted further on his Instagram, everyone needs to chill. Yes, I hurt myself, but not from hitting it far. I slipped and fell this week on Tuesday, unfortunately. Shout out to Dustin Johnson. I know people probably won't believe me, but that is the truth. I will be back stronger and better than ever in a few weeks. Thank you for your concerns and keep hitting bombs. I will be back.
Love that guy.
Yeah, you do.
Oh yeah, big Bryson guy. I wonder if the Instagram about it being wrong. I would love to know, higher or lower. Just tell us, Bryson. Like I feel like it might be higher. Who knows? But also, speaking of people who want, like people clearly want to take shots at Phil. He's just been around forever and he's been Phil forever. People have been waiting to take these Bryson DeChambeau shots too about his injury because I think when this all first started happening, you could probably go back and listen to the podcast. I'm pretty sure I did. I'm sure other guys did too. We just figured he was going to get hurt like 6 months in, and that was going to be it because he was doing such crazy shit with his body. We're 2 years in and a U.S. Open victory later. Now things maybe are breaking down, although he says that he fell, which that could happen. But people weirdly want Bryson DeChambeau to get hurt in certain ways because they're like, he can't sustain this, and now he's finally gotten hurt. But I don't think it's because of the workouts.
Absolutely. I think that's exactly what a lot of people want. They want, look, when he came out, and speaking of smartest guy in the room, when he came out a couple years ago, I got beefed up. I figured out how to hit it farther. I figured out the game. Everybody was taking shots at him. Matthew Fitzpatrick took shots at him. Justin Thomas took shots. Everyone was like, yeah, you can't. I mean, this guy thinks he's learned golf or he knows something about golf that we don't know. He's got the single-length clubs, the protractors on the course. He beefed up. Now he's just going to hit it farther. Everybody's all of a sudden going to be better. And like you said, Trent, then he fucking won. He won the U.S. Open. He won at Bay Hill. He won some big events. He was absolutely lapping the field when it came to distance off the tee. And people sort of had to be like, oh, shit, to the point where Rory McIlroy then admitted that he was fucking up his own swing, trying to become more like Bryson DeChambeau. So, yeah, everyone's been waiting. I think they've been storing these punches just where they were getting ready to store those punches for Phil Mickelson. Same exact punches. People were ready to play this card forever. I do think he's being, he fucking fell. And didn't he, a week ago in fucking Torrey Pines, wasn't he holding his back after like half of his shots and he looked injured there?
That's true.
Maybe you fell because your back was fucking hurt from hitting the golf. I don't know. But him claiming that they're unrelated, I mean, what are we doing here? This is your favorite player, Frankie.
I know. He's
oof. He's in a hole right now.
That was a lot. That was just a lot of breathing, a lot of exhales.
Never heard you that speechless before.
What part are you hung up on? That he's lying about how he got hurt?
The fell part?
Yeah. Yeah, just, I wish he would continue to be the guy that I want him to be and just say I've hit so many fucking bombs that my back is breaking and I'm so huge and my muscles are so strong that I can't even play this wimpy little sport anymore. Just go all in, dude. I don't hate him.
Agreed.
I respect him.
That's always been our argument. We actually don't in any way have anything wrong with what Bryson does as a person. That's great. We just hate the way that he talks about it.
Yeah.
He's the least transparent guy in the world.
But he also is. But then he's very transparent, though. He goes too in depth with stuff, where he'll talk about exactly what he's feeling.
Dimples
and
on the golf ball.
Dimples that's almost like the most transparency you can get.
But it's transparent about things that aren't pertaining to him.
You guys just don't like the way he gives the detail. He gives so much detail that it almost turns you off.
Yeah, detailed insights about things, but like about his own body and like about how honest he is with that and like obvious takeaways, he loses the room. So he just doesn't communicate well with others. Like he is a species from another planet that's here and fundamentally has no idea how to communicate with others.
He thinks differently. He's like one of your guys at Axon. He's just got one of those brains.
It served him well.
I'm not going to compare him to anyone here at Axon.
He's a leader in the thought space. What do you mean? He thinks differently. He looked at a process and just completely turned the fucking industry on its head. Did he not?
He kind of did.
Did he not? He kind of did.
He didn't. I mean, there's
single length irons. He's hitting fucking 6-degree drivers. I mean, what are we talking about?
He had more success than everyone thought he would have.
Guy won the U.S. Open.
He did, but a lot of people thought he would get to this point too, where he's been injured and kind of beat up. And now, if he's going to say to chill because no, the injuries aren't related to training, like he just loses the room Let's
just play devil's advocate here and just say this is not the best podcast to talk about a guy not wanting to talk about his back injuries and how he got hurt and why he's hurt. So let's just move on to the next topic and just act like this is a normal sense of like when you talk about golfers and their backs getting hurt and not being transparent about how they got hurt. Let's just accept that and move on because if that's the world we want to live in, that's the world we have to live in.
He's trying to protect another
his
golf
guy.
Figure. Well, he's trying to protect his guy by trying to protect all of our guy.
The guy.
Yeah. I don't know.
Let's protect the man upstairs, all right?
Okay. Shout out to Deputy Villanueva, the guy in all right. That's who
Big
Frankie's.
You want to talk about not getting into the reasons as to why a guy's hurt,
Where's that guy? You think he's retired? You think he's just living on the beach now because he did such a good job with that? You think he's just on a
he's
payment
probably
plan?
private security at Tiger's fucking compound making like $1 million a year.
Yep.
I agree.
No doubt.
I agree with that. That's exactly where he's at.
Yeah, he like works 1 week a year. Yep. He's on security for the yacht, and that's otherwise he just lives on the yacht.
That's right. He's head security of the boat privacy, and besides that,
meanwhile,
he's just on vacation.
Meanwhile, the Jupiter police are still making fucking $30K a year, grinding it out. It's just your decisions matter. Your decisions matter. All right, and I'm sure hopefully police make way more than that because I love police, but we're just making a little joke there. Very funny, while we're on topic, a little shot that Ian Poulter got. So they were talking about like Ian Poulter reportedly getting offered like $22 million to join the Saudi Golf League. And they asked Dustin Johnson about it, if he got like a similar offer. And he goes, no, not similar. Johnson said with a laugh at his pre-tournament press conference for this week's Saudi International. It's just not similar. Is what he said.
Oh, shit.
It's not.
That's great.
We know,
and everybody knows it's not, and that's why it's funny as hell because it's not even close to similar.
Bro, this league
That's a good question. That's a good question from the reporter, whoever asked that.
This league is offering Ian Poulter $30 million to join their league. They have so much money to spread around that they are offering Ian Poulter, who just hasn't been that relevant on the PGA Tour or outside of his Ferraris not getting delivered on Instagram. He's just not in the sphere of relevancy. Like if Ian Poulter signs up for this Saudi-backed league, is that like gangbusters? Are they popping champagne because they got Ian Poulter? $30 million. That is really the barometer for how much money these guys have if they're offering that amount to him.
Makes me think that, I've always thought money makes no sense, and I don't think it does make sense. We just continuously keep printing money, and we're trillions of dollars in debt. But we still have money. Money still equals something. Is it gold? Like money, we still have. I don't even know if we have gold anymore. Like now we're just beyond that. We're just printing money. It just makes me think the Saudi-backed league is quite literally making money. Like they have infinite money, right? They can just. There's a place. I'm picturing some place where they just go in and they hit a button and just money just like literally comes out of a machine and they just put it in a bag and they go and just
this is fully outside my scope and maybe Riggs can speak to it better. I believe it's oil money.
Right.
Yeah. I would also love to know, like when you were talking about, okay, so he's getting 22 or what the offer was, like that Venn diagram that T Daddy was talking about of like the pockets of people. I just started Googling like craziest golfers out there. Like who's taking that money? Because there's somebody. And I would say there's a couple people that are jumping in on this thing. Sabatini. Ugh. You also Frankie said there's no okay, let's talk about this inside of a vacuum. The big reason for the money is obviously because of the vacuum's just so nasty. Like you got to live over there. You got to be part of it. Like you don't know when you can leave. I would love to know all the extenuating factors of like, yeah, you got to play. You got to play.
But I don't think that's even it. I don't think they even play. Like I don't think they need to live or play in Saudi Arabia. I think it's like all over the world. They might do a few tournaments there, but I think their league is not. Like, I don't even know if they'll be there. I think it's just that it's backed by them. And if you look, so the Saudi royal family, I believe, is guesstimated to have like $100 billion is their worth. But in reality, they have the full net worth of the country of Saudi Arabia because they just run the country. So
that's right.
Like, there's no one there that could tell them like, actually, we're gonna need that money for a new highway. So like, they just have whatever money they have. It doesn't matter.
I would love to know if there's a stipulation in the contract that they have to live there for like 8 months a year. I think it's that
would change things.
I bet it's
time.
Probably not. Probably not, as a guy who knows nothing about any of this, but that would be interesting because also if you move to Saudi Arabia, then like Riggs is saying, the money, it doesn't matter then. Then you're just a guest of the people who run the entire government, and nobody has to spend any money on anything.
No, you're fine.
I wonder if this stuff's going to be in the Netflix show.
I hope so. They should if they're epic. I mean, just like a peek into some of the negotiations.
I'm sure it'll be in there.
It's a big miss if it's not.
The tour has no editorial control, so it's like
imagine being in the room with these guys, like they're sitting around the living room and discussing should we take this money like that.
That's like trailer material for the season.
Oh my god!
Because it's the only thing people.
That's
are talking
not even
about in golf.
Right that's like
Who
a
wrote
Mission
this
Impossible.
Letter? How did that letter get to my house?
That's a Mission Impossible movie or something. That's not even golf. That's like that's like the movie with the interview where they went over to go see Kim Jong. Like it's just.
And Lurch is right. Like, how are they even approached? Like, what's that process?
I have no idea.
Because right now it does feel like somebody in like a black van drops off his briefcase, and it's just like
an owl from Hogwarts comes and drops
Greg
it off.
Norman?
It might be Greg Norman just shows up at your door.
But hey, who's pulling the strings for Greg Norman? Like, who's he talking to on a daily basis?
Wrote a shock. His just fucking comes in, just no shirt on.
It's got to be the show.
Greg Norman lands in Saudi Arabia on his PJ, and he just lives literally like a king for probably a week while they just talk about who they should go after. I mean, he's got it pretty good.
It's a huge cock.
Right, because
that man has seen some things.
Yeah, he's got a huge dick, and he's clearly got a bunch of money now. And, like, nobody really cares what Greg Norman is doing. You know what I mean?
No.
Certainly not in the way that they would care about a Bryson DeChambeau or a Dustin Johnson or even an Ian Poulter. Maybe close to Ian Poulter. But, like, what Greg Norman does not make headlines unless he becomes the commissioner of a Saudi-backed league. And even then, it's kind of like the focus is on the players who or who may not go, not on Greg Norman.
What do you think Ian Poulter's career earnings are on the PGA Tour?
Oh, boy.
I'm going to say $62 million.
No way. That's way too high, right?
48.
Boy, that
has to be way too high.
That first number threw me off.
Too high.
I'm going to say like
way too high.
Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Man, I'm going to say
I'm going to tell you this. He's 53rd all time.
Oh, I'm fucked then. I think I'm wrong. Well,
nope. You're
I'm going to say 27.
Wow. $27.6 million.
What?
Come on.
Wow.
T.
Let's go.
3 times more than you.
I mean, he's been around for a long time.
Yeah.
God, I would have even thought it was higher based on, I can't believe you in 27, 53rd all time. I thought it was going to be substantially higher than that.
I know, but you got to realize until recently they didn't make any fucking money.
No, I know, but still, that seems, anyways, clearly I was wrong. T-Daddy was just spot on the money. He knows,
shit.
Hey, if you're 57th on the leaderboard, you make $27 million.
Know your enemies. Know your enemies.
Jesus.
Wow. So yeah, I mean, if you think about the difference, right? They're offering him what he's made in his career. Sure, maybe he's made another $5-10 million in sponsorships, and who knows? But like that's pretty close to what he's made in his entire career.
Oh, I'd like to be very clear on something. If I'm Ian Poulter, I absolutely say yes.
100%.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of things at play, and we've been talking about them now for the whole show. But like Ian Poulter, if you want to keep that Ferrari collection growing, you might want to have to think about that offer.
Imagine if we had to go to Dave and Erica and be like, all right, so we got this offer here. They're offering us $40 million, and we could just only cover the Saudi Arabian-backed blood money golf league. What do you think? How do you think that would go?
I mean, asking people with actual brains, they're probably going to say you shouldn't do it. But if you ask us 4 idiots, we're probably taking the money and running. But once you start bringing it to like the C-suite, I think like conversations start to be had where they're like, I don't know that we can do this, guys.
Right. Yeah, that's spot on. That's exactly what happens. The 4 of us idiots walk in and we go, we got $40 million. And they're like, what? How? And then they're like, this is how we got it. And they're like, this is one of the worst ideas you brought to my table. And you're like, all right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's right.
And we're all smiling, laughing about it right now because, like, we've all had that stupid idea that gets shot down.
Totally.
Oh, man. Okay. Let's talk about Tommy John. So I actually pulled about a month ago. I think I spent like $215 of my own money. They send us free shit, obviously. I think I spent $215 of my own money on Tommy John because that's how good they are. And it was worth it. It was fucking worth it.
I'm wearing a pair right now. Now that you say it, I'm wearing TJs right now. And they're comfy
we all
as hell.
are, dude. They're amazing. I'm wearing them too. The longer you go on, the more you need it. So that we've had them for now over a year, well over a year. We've had Tommy John as a sponsor and a partnership for Foreplay. And we've been getting a lot of product, and I can't live without it. It's one of those products that we've gotten where if they go out of business or something happens and they stop making underwear, I don't know how I'm going to survive. Like, that's now my boxer brief. That's what I wear. That's how I live my life. They're so comfortable that I'll never be able to do something else. If I run out of them, I freak out. I'd rather go commando. I can't wear another brand.
I'm with you. I'm with you so much that on, these long road trips I go on 2-3 weeks, whatever it is, I didn't have enough Tommy Johns to last the entire trip. And it's a pain in the ass trying to do laundry on the road, by the way. Hotels, you hope the hotel has it. You have to go up to like the 57th floor, and then there's like a key to get in, and then you got to have coins. You got to go back to. It's a nightmare. So I just needed enough pair of Tommy Johns to get through an entire road trip. That's why I bought much more. With over 17 million pairs sold, Tommy Johns made couples across the country comfier than ever. Let them do the same for you and your Valentine. So yeah, obviously their underwear is unbelievable, but they have really, really good pants. I wear their I guess you call them pajama pants to dinner. Is that right?
Pajama pants?
I'm a
pajama pants
guy.
Pajama?
Well, are you being honest or are you trolling? Because it's pajama.
Yeah, people call them pajamas, don't they? You never heard that before?
I call them pajamas.
Pajamas. I call them pajamas too. Now that I say it out loud, I call them pajamas.
You said I was trolling you.
But you were saying it funky there. Frankie's still trying to get to his own answer.
It's like, Frankie, we've gone over this with vase and vase. Now that we're talking about it, I have no idea how I actually say it.
I think I say pajamas.
I love it.
Pajamas.
He's still not
pajamas.
sure.
I like to say my PJs. They get comfy cozy.
Yeah.
Fuck, I don't know.
Sometimes I just call them my comfies.
Soft
Their loungewear. Now you got me confused. Their loungewear.
Dude, their loungewear is nuts, man.
It's so good.
There's something about them when I put them on. It's like I have a one it's a full matching pajama suit. Yeah, pajama. There we go.
Yeah,
see that?
We got it.
That was natural. That was natural.
Full matching pajama suit, and it's so soft and it's so like a little bit loose that I can just like fall into bed, and it's just a little nice on my titties, on my belly, and you're just like everything about it's just soft, and you feel like a marshmallow. I love it so much. I actually can't wait to get into them tonight.
Get $20 off your order of $100 or more right now at TommyJohn.com/Fore. Go to TommyJohn.com/Fore for $20 off. Again, that is TommyJohn.com/Fore. See their site for details.
This is gonna seem sudden. It's gonna feel like a lurch move, but I gotta jet. I gotta get out of here.
All right, Trent Daddy, that's okay.
I'll
almost
be
done anyways.
Yeah, I'm tagging Lurch in. Lurch, take it from here. Take over my spot.
Okay.
All right.
I'll zap into the
Adios.
office.
See ya.
Big shoes to fill. Big shoes to fill, literally.
Good luck. Congrats to Harold Varner
I'm bigger than he
III.
is.
I know you guys will get to that, but what a putt.
He's coming next. HV3, 92-footer. So over in Saudi Arabia, which we're talking about. Harold Varner III, Bubba Watson. He needs 2 putts from 92 feet to go to a playoff. He just cans it. Enormous celebration. Guy that's had trouble getting across the finish line in his career. Incredibly popular. I saw pretty much everyone who's active on social media in the golf world, from players to media to whomever, tweeting out congratulations. But what a putt from Harold Varner III.
Insane. And the view, so the putt of 92 feet, nuts. But when you watch the angle of just him, how long it took for that ball to go in when you're not watching the ball. I mean, I think it's a 17-second clip from the time he hits the ball to the time it goes in, that you can't believe that that's the clip. I thought something happened on my screen because at one point he doesn't move. He's just staring at us. So I'm like hitting my screen to be like, oh, what the fuck happened? It's an amazing walk-off putt. Harold Varner III, we've dapped him up at tournaments before, and he's been the guy that, we've always seen, and he's been a pretty big fan of us, apparently, that like we never really knew. We've seen him at like the US Open where he's come over and been like, oh, here comes trouble, and like he's just a very funny personality on tour. Happy to see him win one, and see it kind of makes the Saudi, like playing over in Saudi Arabia, having a putt for an eagle, it kind of makes it all feel kind of real and normal. Like it's just a viral video from a golf event that a guy won. We're talking about it, feels normal. Don't know anything about the politics or what's going on behind the scenes. We're just watching golf and bombs being, well, maybe the wrong word to be using, but draining long putts. And yeah,
it was great. And I agree with you, Frankie. Like, because I think I would say 80% of the putt was uphill, and then the last section of the putt, it is just slowly sliding down the hole. I mean, it's a 52-second clip on whatever putt. It's a crazy long clip. I will also say, like, his celebration was amazing because he was willing it into the hole. And yeah, I mean, with everything going on, Saudi is just, it was an amazing stamp on top to all the news, because like, I think Riggs had a good tweet. It's like, nobody's talking about this tournament. The only reason we are is because HV3 won. And I think, Riggs, were you with me? We were just getting snacks at Pinehurst one time, and he was in there, and like that crow's nest thing. I think it's over on the 4th course, I think.
Yeah, there's the nest is between the 10th hole on course 2, I believe, and the 5th hole on course 4, and like a little halfway house for both courses. He's a Carolina guy, so he's at Pinehurst all the time. I've played before, after a few cocktails with him on the Cradle, and he's just a legend. He's such a good, friendly, boisterous guy, loves life, beloved out on tour. We've had him on the show a few times. I remember after the PGA at Bethpage Black, we saw him coming out of the clubhouse. I think he was double fisting in both hands. I think he was holding 4 Bud Lights coming out of the clubhouse. You remember that, Frankie?
Yes, that was insane. Absolutely
After
insane.
he was in the final group with Brooks Koepka, he kind of melted down, made like a triple on the 4th hole, but he still had a pretty, obviously, high finish overall. I'm sure he was top 10 or 15, even with a Sunday kind of meltdown. Just big smile on his face after a great week, holding like 4 beers, all geared up. He saw us with like our phones and shit. I was like, oh shit. We're like, no, we're good. So he's awesome. He's a really good dude, really popular winner. But I do think, like what you just said, Frankie, is basically what Saudi Arabia is trying to accomplish with the Saudi Bag League that people are hoping they don't accomplish, which is normalizing 100%. Like Western culture in Saudi Arabia. Like, oh, it's totally cool over there. Everything's great. And then they're just, committing awful human rights violations left and right while all that's going on at the same time. I think that's one of the main issues. But anyway, really cool putt. Bubba Watson handled it incredibly well. He like hugged him right afterwards, and I think he took him out to dinner, and they had a nice dinner together. So that was a feel-good clip in in a tournament. I think what I wrote was that this putt's got everybody talking about a tournament nobody wanted to talk about, which is pretty much true.
Yeah.
People are trying to
I
avoid
like
that
tweet a
fucking
lot.
thing.
That was a good one. Yeah.
Thank you.
I love the celebration because it was clean. A lot of times with putts like that, Tiger Woods has been for how iconic his putts and celebrations have been. I mean, it's what's made him Tiger Woods, essentially, aside from all the winning, is his iconic fist bumps and celebrations. We've often talked about how unclean they are and how awkward some of them are. So Harold Varner really, that was a huge hug in the air with his caddy. I mean, it was a huge fist bump, and then instead of like going for the high five and he goes for the fist bump, or maybe he goes for a high five and he goes for a hug, it was just come on, almost like a Trent and me type of hug Embrace. In Australia, where like he hit that
one of the goats.
Yeah, so yeah, it was good to see that. I'm always a little nervous when the putt drains to see how awkward it's going to be.
I love that's your thing. Guy has a lifetime accomplishment. Frankie's like, oh, that's fine, but let's just make sure that this is a clean, successful like celebration, because if it's not, it literally ruins it for Frankie.
I can't even watch the chip at Augusta from Tiger because of him and Stevie. Like they just.
I think that's so good. Yeah,
they just missed the high five. It's like just be better than that right there in that moment.
I liked our guy Danny Rappaport tweeted it. He goes, usually when a guy holds a long putt, you get 2 to 3 seconds of involuntary movement as he realizes it's got a chance. Maybe a little shuffle, eyes get huge. Not this time. My man HV3 was full statue until it hit the bottom, from frozen to just going nuts, which is true. I just looked at it. For about 10 full seconds, he doesn't move a millimeter. He's just dead still staring at it, and then he just goes berserk once it goes in. So yeah, very good.
It's a long time. 10 real seconds as that ball's moving is an insane amount of time.
If we went silent for 10 seconds, I think people would just shut off the show because it'd be so awkward.
All right, let's do it. Hold on, let me find.
I got it. I can do it for you guys.
Already? No, I'm gonna do it in 3, 2, 1,
Bye.
Go. Wow, that's fucking
That's
crazy.
so long.
That's a lot.
That's really
That's a
long.
lot of silence.
I wasn't counting. Like I could have just done like the 1, 2 to see like where we were. I was just trying to kind of guess. And in my head, that might have been 25 seconds. That took forever.
Woo! That was long. Leona Maguire, shout out to her. We're kind of on a hot streak when it comes to the foreplay bump on the LPGA Tour. Danielle came on the show at the event. She wins it. Leona Maguire was at that event, but that's her home course, so she wasn't playing in that tournament. Played the next week, and then the following week. So I think this was her second start of the season. She wins. First ever win for an Irish woman on the LPGA Tour ever. I saw like the Irish president tweeted at her like how pumped they were. You would think like Ireland and how big golf is over there. Scotland, England, Ireland, Northern Ireland, how big golf is over there for her to be the first ever. Unbelievably cool. I think we said it after we had her on, but she's a stone cold killer. You could sense it when you chat with that girl, when you see her, when you talk to her. She's there to fucking win. She's not there to make friends. She got her sister and her like managing her life and figuring shit out, and then she's just there to dominate and win. So I'm not surprised that she got a win. Pretty cool that she got it right after we had her on the show.
Really cool.
Amazing.
Really
just
cool.
Fantastic.
Jordan Spieth. So we obviously got Tom Hoge, who won his first PGA Tour event. I believe he's 32 years old. Kind of a wild finish where it looked like Spieth was in total control. At one point, it just felt like he had like a 3 or 4 shot lead. It was actually 2, but it was like, oh, he's pulling away. It's over. He flags one on 17, comes up a little short, doesn't get up and down. Hoge hits it to like an inch on 16. Birdie 17, and all of a sudden the tournament's just over in the other direction. He gets the win. Very funny clip of Tiger that resurfaced from, I think, 3, 4, 5 years ago. I don't remember how long ago it was, but they asked him if he knew who or what a Tom Hoge was, and he was like, what? Like, what is it? And I do think he kind of got sandbagged a little bit because he was thinking it's a sandwich, like some people call a sandwich a hoagie, like kind of thing. Mm-hmm. I think he was a little bit, he's like, what is it? Like, what is that? It was just the guy that he was like tied in the lead with.
That's amazing. Why it's hysterical. I mean, like, yeah, it's your sandwich, but like this guy is fundamentally competing with you at the highest level. and you drop a "what is it?" is one of the better questions of all time. Because like Tiger was in one of those genuine moments, and he's just like, "Yeah, what is it? Like, what's so funny? Like, what do you
Tiger's
know
not
that I
real.
don't? Because I know everything in this life,
dude. You could tell
like,
from the
what is
clip he was embarrassed right away. He's like, "What is it? Or who is it? Like what? I'm sorry, I don't understand." They're like, "No, that's like the guy that's tied at the lead with you." And he's like, "Oh, okay, oh shit."
He is not a real human being, man. He's so wired, it's crazy. Yeah, no, Hoagie should be Hoge, especially with the Hoge coin going crazy and all that crypto shit.
True.
It'd be fun. He could have like the Hoge symbol or whatever it might be, like as his head cover. It's a huge miss. His name's not Hoge. Yeah, no, huge. I actually I was in Jersey and I was able to sprinkle a little cash
on Hoge?
on Hoagie. He was like
Hoge
plus
coin?
1,200 on the Barstool Sports book. So leading into that day, I got him at plus 1,200. Nice little coin on the Barstool Sports book. So that was a big little winner. Just what were you saying?
I was rooting hard against them, hard.
Yeah.
So I had a huge paddle tournament the day before. I was kind of tired. I was just like watching on the couch, and I was getting a bunch of messages, but I thought it was a joke from people being like, "Are you playing in the Pro-Am?" Actually, Riggs and I played with this guy, Stefan Nason, and his buddy, who are both AHLers, good kids. And he texted me out of the blue. He's like, "Dude, I just saw you at the Pro-Am. Like, are you playing?" And I was like, "You're obviously kidding." So, obviously I look somewhat like Bo Hostler. I don't look like a ton like him, I don't think by any means, but that guy Stefan thought I was him, like, and wasn't lying with me at all. So I woke up, he's like, Bo's like 3-4 off the lead or something like that, but he's in the final group. He made a couple bogeys out of the gate. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to throw $100 on him. Like, he's plus 15,000 at this time. So it was literally 100 to win 15 grand. And then Bo made birdie on 9. He made birdie on 10 and 11 to get to like 1 or 2 off the lead. And then and Spieth starts to deteriorate. I'm like, dude, what is? I like couldn't move because I was like, this is unbelievable. This actually happens. And then Hoge makes an insane putt on 17 to make birdie. And I was on this like, all right, that's amazing. Like, this guy's going to have one of these like life moments. And it's like, this win is going to pave the way to just have an easy life, if you will. Not easy, but just makes it financially way easier. And then Hostler had to make an eagle on 18, which was not out of the realm of possibilities. Where that pin was pretty much impossible. Tucked front right to have any real good look at it. But he hit a bomb drive past the tree and then had like 3 wood in. I was like, this is going to be the best Sunday of my life. And obviously it didn't happen. He threw it in the bunker and then it was kind of over from there. But Pebble is just, that place is off the charts with regards to just visually how stunning it is. Like, we talk about like, oh, I don't care about these tournaments or that tournament. If there's any tournament at Pebble Beach that's on TV, I'm watching that golf tournament because it is the most beautiful place I've ever looked at in my whole life.
It's insane that we get to go there and just be there. Like,
thought about that.
We'll be there next month, boys. Dad Bod Classic.
Makes me want to puke that we get to walk those grounds because it doesn't feel real. Dylan DeChair tweeted out that Pebble Beach looks more like a video game than most video games. And the picture is so funny because it really, you can't believe how much it looks like a video game on 18. But yeah, no, huge win for Hoagie. Spieth, there's a lot of talk on this podcast about the 8th hole. There's always been a lot of talk about the 8th hole. One of the more insane near-death experiences we've ever seen on a golf course. I mean,
can't believe you hit it. I can't believe you hit that shot.
We know how insane that drop-off is, and just, I don't know, like, what'd you guys think about that? I had queasy knees, and I felt like I was going to puke watching him walk up to there because, I don't know, man, he's taking an athletic swing with probably a couple inches between him and death.
I hated it. I honestly hated the whole thing. It made me uncomfortable. It made me queasy. It made me think he's an incredibly reckless idiot. Like, I couldn't believe he was hitting that shot because he's leaning forward, right? Because it's a downhill lie. So his whole body is literally leaning forward. The golf swing, you transition all of your weight onto your front foot. So like it's the Gary Player or the Padraig Harrington, like the step through. Like, when you swing, you like, if anything, you step like forward, not backward. And so if the result was like he could get a sprained ankle or something, fine. The result is sure death.
Sure death.
If he just slips or like, I don't know.
I did see
it just seemed crazy to me that he hit that shot.
Crazy. I will say, I did see a funny tweet after. People were like, "Oh, people are going nuts about Spieth hit this golf ball." It's like the lawn crew's making $16 an hour to work that clip like on a daily basis, and I was like, "That's a decent point."
But even those guys they're probably sending the lawnmower like forward towards.
Totally,
they're not.
But they're on the cliff. I mean, like it's just
funny.
Well,
the crazy thing about Pebble Beach is we're all on the cliff out there, but no one gets that close. Dude, his whole stance was inside the red line.
Yeah,
his whole stance. His right foot was inside the red line. I'm pretty sure.
I thought he was going to kind of cold top it because I was amazed that he got up in the air because I thought he was going to lean so far back that just kind of the front of the club was just kind of like hit the top of the ball and send it down to the cliff. I was amazed that he kind of stayed in the swing long enough to hit it up there to the left side of the green, and then he made just a world.
That's what I don't get. They always
that
hit
par
these
is better
shots.
than your par, Frankie, and it's not even close.
No, it's just more reckless. My par was much prettier.
More reckless.
His was dirty. It was chaos. Mine was nuts and bolts. Just how you play that hole, man. Just couldn't have split the fairway more. Nice 3-wood to the end of the fairway. 6-iron, wind off the left, hit the fucking left side of the green, came back, checked up, missed the birdie putt because of the fucking story we had right before the lady jumping to her death.
I was thinking too, like we were really close to one of the most infamous clips in sports history. If he falls off that cliff and dies,
it's over.
Are you fucking kidding me? We have a clip from a blimp of Jordan Spieth falling to his death on a cliff at Pebble Beach on the 8th hole. I mean, they play a tournament there every year. There's a major there every like 5 or 10. Like that would be.
It may have ruined Pebble Beach forever. They may never go back. Like who knows what happens if that happens?
Just splatters on the rocks among like the fucking seagulls, and it's just people were just like, oh man, like he's That'd be crazy. That would have been an unimaginable clip if that would have happened.
That's the thing I don't get about these guys, and we've seen it a lot, and I'm trying to remember. There was a shot. Oh, Spieth did this at the fucking... Yeah, Spieth's reckless. Spieth did this at the Ryder Cup, where he hit that ridiculous flop shot on that hole that was like on the lake over there. Where, remember 17. Where he like... 17, where he was like running back, and if he just didn't stop, he just falls off that cliff as well onto the rocks and probably dies as well. So there's a lot of times where Spieth just has this ability to be able to hit these shots that like you don't get to practice that. I don't care how good of a golfer you are. You don't get to practice what it feels like to have your left foot inches away from falling off of a cliff and then hitting a golf ball. He's hit every golf ball imaginable, all different ways, all different shapes, all different sizes, every different type of shot you could possibly imagine. He's never even attempted that shot. So for that to just happen is crazy to me. Like, how does he know how to hit that shot and stay on his back leg and not fall off a cliff?
If he falls off that cliff, like what procedurally, what do you think happens? Like, does somebody just go pick up his ball and they're like, all right, like
tournament's
like
over.
Withdrew from the tournament, like Greller.
Tournament's
like,
over.
I don't know.
What happens?
I don't know what happens. Certainly, they go to commercial. They get
okay.
They get 2 minutes of commercial to panic assess.
They come back and Clint Eastwood's just staring out to space. They're like, Clint, we lost Jordan. He's like, what?
And maybe they just go right to Clint, and then they think like people just like we did that 10-second pause, like, oh, they must have lost connectivity because like he's not saying anything and like nothing's happening. So it's
Jim Nantz just like, all right, we're gonna throw it to like Patrick Cantlay on 13. He's got 10 foot down the hill for Burt. Like, what do they do?
No, I think they blow the horn. They blow the horn, and the tournament's over.
Tournament's over.
Yep. Yeah, rainstorm. Big storm came through. Tournament's over.
You can't lose Jordan Spieth on 8 and keep that thing going.
No.
I mean, think about how crazy that would have been, and it was very close to happening.
Extremely close to happening. So one of the reporters was like, how are you going to tell your wife about this? He's like, I don't know. It's probably going to be a tough one. Like, how could you ever explain?
You could barely talk about it afterwards. He said when he saw the blimp footage, he was like, I was really uncomfortable when I saw the blimp footage. Like, no shit, dude. You almost fell off a fucking cliff on live TV.
We're not over exaggerating. He was within inches of death. Inches.
Well, also, it's just like, to Reese's point, it's like, all right, so you're in an athletic posture. You're making a swing. Like, there is pressure on your front foot that, like, I mean, erosion happens. Little, like, something, it's it's not out of the realm of possibilities that like you can push more rocks down over the cliff. So it's
what if
not
his left shoe
solid,
breaks?
solid
What if his
ground.
left shoe breaks? Right, like people's shoes. What if his
right?
What if his spike on his left shoe just gives out and people slip on the tee box all the time? What if he just slips?
All the time?
It's over. He's gone.
I would, or like his knee or something, like, bodily ailment that just
something happens.
Right.
Something, a back spasm.
Right. It's a mess. It's a mess.
Right? What are we talking about here? You need, when you're doing an athletic thing that things happen. Tiger Woods hit a golf shot we don't like to talk about, but he like fell to the ground after he made contact. Like his back was fucking spasming. Like when you're making an athletic swing or doing something, you have to have at least a 3-foot circular window around you to not die. You can't have a cliff on the other end of you. You have to make sure if you're standing on a cliff, you need to be like linked up to something, or you need to be one of those daredevil guys that jumps from building to building and like not give a fuck about life.
Dude, what do you think? I'm looking it up right now. An average club head, his shot was 160. So let's say he had like a 9-iron downhill line. That's probably like an average 90-ish 80 to 90 mile an hour club. So he's swinging a golf club at like 80 to 90 miles an hour on that dangerous position. I mean,
trust it.
If anything goes wrong, he's tumbling head over heel down a 70.
It also wasn't a major. It's the pro-am. Like, okay, like he just take a drop. Just like, I understand wanting to win the tournament. I get that, but it's the pro-am. You know what I mean? It's not. It's a crazy swing. It's a crazy decision. He did it. It's a lifelong memory, and I bet you he'll never do it again.
Yeah, he said after, he's like, if Michael would have walked over to the red line, he wouldn't have let me hit it. There's no way he would have let me hit it. Like, yeah, no shit, dude.
Of course. Right.
Fuck, that was scary.
What a weird. This is I'm just looking through Twitter. AP Sports tweeted out that Major League Baseball has stopped testing players for steroids for the first time in nearly 20 years due to the expiration of the sport's drug agreement. So they're just not going to, until they come up with a new drug agreement, they're just not going to test guys for steroids. That's going to be absolute chaos. How do you do that and not let fucking Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens in the Hall of Fame? They're both their Hall of Fame.
True.
Bids just expired. My God, baseball's such a fucking mess right now. They might not play the season to start. It's insane. Sorry.
All right.
Just came across my desk.
Most guys have tried different ways to last longer when they are in bed having a sexual interaction. Thinking about, I don't know, what's something that you would try to think about, boys? Maybe the latest picture of Frankie from the Chiclets Cup.
That one, that'll
actually might be more effective than Roman.
That'll lower the sales for sure.
Folks at Roman, an online men's health company, have basically packaged that experience and are changing the game with Roman swipes, the secret to longer-lasting sex. Yeah. You'll just last forever. Roman swipes are a clinically proven way to last longer in bed. They're effective, easy to use, and they're fast-acting.
They've scientifically turned my face into a
fat face.
They've scientifically turned my face into like some sort of it's a wipe that you can put on your penis and it just makes you last longer. Like that, they've taken the picture of my face and turned what happens when you see that into an actual gel.
Last longer or potentially ruin the moment. If I pictured Frankie's face, that might be Roman on steroids.
That photo basically prevents orgasms from being humanly possible.
That's right. That's right.
Roman could ship these orgasm impossible swipes to you in discreet, unmarked packaging. I'm just kidding. You'll still orgasm. You're just going to last longer while you bang. It's great.
Damn.
Go to GetRoman.com/4 to get your first month of swipes for just $5 when you choose a monthly plan. That's GetRoman.com/4. Your first month of swipes for just $5. GetRoman.com/4. But I think we're done.
Well, I want to talk to you guys about this.
Oh, yeah. I want to hear about your lesson.
Oh, Lurch is going to take a quick call. Basically, so I was with the not the five.
Where was this? Long Island?
Yeah, this was Long Island. So I was at the Full Swing Guys HQ, and I got a message from a guy saying, like, basically taking a video of their system and like and their headquarters is fucking awesome. They have this like putt view thing. You know the putt view thing where like the greens like change and like you can change so this guy was like, wait until you see what we're building in Roslyn. So this guy's building this huge like putt view simulator, all the simulators. He's a teacher. His name is Joe Ingaglia, and his Ingaglia Golf is on Instagram, and he messaged me. We get a bunch of messages all the time from guys, from pros and local like country club pros and guys who have simulators and stuff. And I don't know, something about his message where he was like, would love to have you and any of your boys over. Like, you have to see this thing I have set up in my house. So he's opening up this thing in Roslyn, but he has this thing in Dix Hills. Basically, it's the center of Long Island, North Shore. And it's actually really kind of close to where my house is, like where I'm actually moving to. So kind of like, I was like, all right, like this could be a fucking thing. Like this guy's got a simulator in his garage. Like, let's go check it out. So I go there, and it's an extension off his house, as if like a dentist's office attached to a house, or like a business. Like, it's a fucking business. He's got like his name printed on the wall. You walk in, it's all glass walls. And
I thought you were at like a strip mall or something. I didn't think you were at
somebody's
house.
Dude, it's his house. It's attached to the guy's house, and you walk in, and he converted his garage to this immaculate, and it's got all those paddings like Tiger Woods has in his putting studio that you see him do interviews in. It's like, you can't believe this fucking room. And the thing that makes his simulator room, and the reason why I went there, is he has these foot plates that he says they're the only ones that you can get in a simulator or a teaching studio in New York, where you stand on these 2 foot plates, and it does all the heat sensors of how much you're leaning on your left foot or your right foot. And as you make contact, he breaks down exactly where all the transfer of weight is going, and you get to see it from your heat and all the patterns. Bro, it shows you how much we're hitting off our toes, and he explains that that's where you lose all of your distance. He goes, if I can get you to stay balanced on your feet through impact and start using your legs instead of your toes. He goes, how are you supposed to spin on your toes? How do you turn on your toes? You can't. You when you do an athletic stance and you go to shoot a basketball, you go from the base of your feet up and then you jump. Like, when you are doing something on football, you're on the balls of your feet and then you spin. You're not like on your toes. You're running in an athletic stance. You got to be in an athletic stance when you're making contact with a golf ball. You can't be all the way on your tippy toes, which is what we all do. Dude, my first couple swings, you would see the whole foot disappear and just all the weight's on this little circle by the toes as I'm making contact. He goes, you're losing. He goes, I can get you 15 miles an hour club speed and 30 more yards because I can just get you center of gravity in a spot. So that was lesson number 1. And then he goes, hit a couple shots. He's got all these cameras attached to this fucking thing. He goes, hit it. He goes, take a swing. And I nutted one, Riggs. I hit one 175 with a 7-iron with a draw at the St. Andrews fucking driving range, whatever he had set up on the simulator. It looked awesome. And he goes, all right, now I'm going to give you a lesson. And he basically, you know when the guys do this, Genkus did this with you, but he makes me swing, and then he's moving my arms around, my elbow, my hip. And he goes, how's that feel? I said, I think I need to go to a chiropractor. Like, I told him, like, dude, I don't think my shoulders can take this. He goes, all right, well, this is where you're supposed to be. And basically so I swung then, and he showed me before and after. And at impact, as I'm about to impact the ball, my original swing, my swing, is so over the top and steep that it looked like I couldn't hit the golf ball when he stopped it where he stopped it. And then the swing that he showed me was, they call it the slot, and it was in to in, and then you're pushing it out like you're hitting it to left field. You know what I mean? Like, for a lefty, you're pushing it in, and it's athletic, and it's like, it looked like John Rahm. You know, when you see those slow motions of John Rahm.
Yeah, they got in the right spot, and they're like, it's this whole window where it's almost like this is the right window, and then it
feels so inside. It feels so inside, but it's not. It's like, it's athletic. It's like you think about power, and it's supposed to be into your body, and it's like boom. And bro, he said the way I originally swing is I'm getting lucky because I'm handsy. He's like, you're somewhat of an athlete. You played baseball your whole life. You're able to make things happen with your hands. So you get into this position at the end, you make something happen with your wrist. You figure it out. You like get it there. But you want to talk about consistency and speed and ball flight and like actually becoming a scratch good golfer. Like, if you actually want to get good at this game, you got to find the slot. And it was fucking infuriating, man, because I'm like, I'll never find the slot, dude. Like, if that's what the slot feels like, count me out, because it felt so uncomfortable. Like, and we're going to work on it. So I'm going to go to this guy. I'm thinking about like just going live on Instagram at night and just letting people just kind of watch the process. Cause he had me on all these contraptions, and he texted me last night. He's like, dude, at the top, just tilt and turn. Tilt and turn, like tilt that body, get that right shoulder down, turn your body. He had me moving and grooving. I'm telling you guys, it's nuts. He had me hitting absolute laser beams with the drives when he was getting me into the spot. So it's going to be a fun little process on getting better, but
Were you able to get into the slot on your own, or only when he basically put you there?
So yeah, after like 5 or 10 swings, I was definitely getting closer to the slot. One of the things I asked him how I can stop doing is I fuck the ball in the air. So when I make contact, I've always noticed when I watch like slow motion shots of myself, I'll hit the ball and then I'll literally just like hump the ball up. Like I do this thing. And at first he goes, well, that's because you got teeny tiny legs. He's actually a funny guy. I want to put him on I want to like put him on my Instagram and like, he's got, you got teeny tiny legs. So we got to do some band work. And then he goes, second of all, it's because you're doing that. Like, he goes, you're not, it's your legs and it's your center of gravity. You're not like coming through the ball. So one of the things he said to do, which I think you alluded to before, where you take the step, is you swing and then you take a step on an actual stair. And like your follow through, you come up on the step. So you're actually kind of like working through the ball. And I kind of like that because I can do that just at my house and just kind of swing and step up. And you kind of get this feeling of like taking a step as you
with
come
your back
through.
foot. So your back foot takes a step up the stairs, so you really turn on it.
Yeah,
it can't be your front.
Yes.
Huh. I like that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was cool,
dude. It's true. Like there is a fundamental difference in the way, and we all do it. When
oh no, Riggs. Sorry, Lurch. It was the front foot. He kind of was swaying from left to right, and then like as you come through, you just step up. It was just like I don't even know that you need to step on a step for that one. You kind of just like step forward as you swing.
But then your whole
no,
weight
you're like
is
finishing up. Yeah, you're finishing like on your front foot up in the air. You know what I mean? I gotta have him do it on my Instagram.
Yeah, you got. I mean, I'm interested. I will say, at its core, I'm just interested to see another picture of you back at this like workout den that you're in like the back room working with this guy.
He's got a great guy for me too to start fixing Frankie. He's got this guy based out of West Point because this guy has taught a bunch of college guys, a bunch of pros.
Yeah. And
he has this guy out of West Point that's a fucking like character apparently that just rips into people like for the mental side. And it's like he helps them with the yips. So yeah, this is going to be a very good. I met a really good person last night for my game. Now, is that going to be immediate fix? I don't know. This could send me down a real dark path.
It's okay, though.
Who knows where it's going to go.
But commit to the process because every one of us, you're right. Like one guy I met with probably 3 or 4 years ago basically summed it up exactly how you're saying it, Frankie, where it's like the amateur shitty version of a swing is like we could all have pretty good fucking hands and we're pretty powerful guys and we could kind of slap it out and do okay. But it's like this fundamental issue of we go back on a certain plane and then we come down over the top of that plane. And that is just a shit, limp dick, pathetic move that leads to lack of consistency. You need a miracle to save it. And every good player in the world brings it back and then they shallow it out into the slot. They get the club basically, like you just described, into that slot where you have this window of, you have a wider window where you are going to hit the ball much closer to physically proper, and you have a much larger window at the bottom of your swing where you will drive through with a square club face versus what we do is like this shit over the top thing, flip your hands at impact when we're on and we're pretty good. It looks good and it goes pretty straight. It's like, oh, that guy could play, but like we're just not on that often. We could top him. We could fucking blade them, we could chunk them because like you said, Frankie, it looks like when you slow it down 2 feet out from when we make contact with the golf ball, it looks like there's no way we can make contact with the golf ball. And when you look at like a John Rahm or a Victor Hovland or any good player, the whole way it looks like they're just going to hit it perfectly and square, and then they just do, and you're like, oh yeah, there was no way they could have missed from that position. It's impossible.
Dude, there was a before and after thing that he was showing me, and his technology is nuts. He's able to overlay swing 1, swing 2, so at the same time you see the arm come out, like a ghost arm come out, like what the first swing was. And when he started drawing, you know when these teachers start drawing arrows on the spine, like maybe it's like the arrow from your eyes to the ball, and then like the arrow from impact position through your arm and up. Dude, the one of where before he started teaching me, it was a crooked V at one point of like my arms up here and I'm about to make contact. And then when he had me in the right position, it was like a fucking straight yellow line from my shoulder, hips open to the target, weight like completely on the back, ready to go into the front foot. He had me twisting all of my weight on my back heel on the backswing, on the take back, and that was a huge help to get back. So he goes, put all the weight on your back left heel as a lefty. So for you guys, back right heel. You take it back, all that weight generates to the back left heel. When you look at his plates, he has those plates that show the heat sensors on your feet. Make that back left like nice and red, and then now you're ready to go. Now you're in a spot with a driver to now come up on the ball and move that fucking weight to the impact position and then through. If you're on your toes or if you're on your front foot, you're gonna come down on the ball, dude. He opened up like a whole. Here's the thing that I'm going to try and take away from it. I don't need to change my swing to try and become the next fucking Tiger Woods. We all know it's not going to happen. But can I take certain things like that on my backswing? Can I put my weight on my back heel to allow me to get through the ball a little bit better? Can I try and find the slot a little bit more where it feels comfortable? I don't want a new swing. I want my swing. I just want to get a little bit more consistent and better. So that's what I need to work with him about. So
I think that's a good goal, and I think I think all of us pretty much have swings that you can work with and get down to a pretty good handicap and post pretty good consistent scores. But like you're saying, it's inexcusable, I would say, sometimes the way that all three of us can hit the golf ball. It's inexcusable how bad we can hit it sometimes. Yeah. Like,
dude, I remember when we were at like 5-iron, maybe 2 years ago now or something like that. And I was just hosel shanking wedges, and I don't even know where it came from or how it showed up, but I was just hitting ball. Like I hit 3 balls in 2 hours, like hosel shank off the wedge. I don't even know where those came from, why they showed up, or now why they're gone. It's crazy, but they're still in there. Like they could show up tomorrow. I'd be like, dude, I've seen these before. I don't know how they get here, but they get here. Sometimes.
Once they get comfortable, trust me, it's hard to say goodbye. But dude, yeah, it was a lot of fun, and I actually brought in a hockey player with me last night. I won't like spoil the name. You can go look on the guy's Instagram, see who I was with, but basically the guy had the worst grip of all time. That was weird.
Why don't you say that? Why don't you say that?
I don't know. I don't want to blow up. I don't know. I mean, they're on All-Star breaks. It doesn't matter. So it was Brock Nelson, but so Brock comes over.
I would say 99.9% of our listeners would have guessed.
We were gonna guess Brock Nelson.
He had this. Well, it's on the guy's Instagram anyway, so it doesn't matter. He had the fucking. He had the. His grip was so fucking off that the guy Joe was like, I don't know how you hit a golf ball. And I didn't know that grip and setup is so important to hitting a golf ball consistent. Because Brock's had a great athletic, amazing swing. He opens up his hips, he comes through it. Dude, this guy did like some sort of fucking Mr. Miyagi type stuff where he looked like he was doing something I've never seen before. And he just like mashed his hands together where it looked really uncomfortable, and Brock's like, I've never held a golf club before ever, apparently, because this feels foreign to me. And you should have seen the nutting that was going on in these irons once all he did was just change where the club face, the
grip,
the grip lands on his hand. It was actually interesting for a hockey player. You might do this too. You like to have like the butt end of the stick like into your palm, right? Like so, like Brock likes it like right in there, and Joe, the teacher, was like, "That's really interesting. I've never heard that. Like, as a golfer, you want to kind of grip it with your fingers right here, right? You don't want to grip it with like your knuckles or your palm. You want to have it right in that nice slot." So there was a lot of teaching that, and then all of a sudden consistency started coming. And the craziest part is just by gripping the club different. Picture 1, which was his original club grip, was you draw a line, and from when he was aligned up to the ball, you could draw the line straight up through his fucking nose and up his skull. Picture 2 with the new grip, all of a sudden, he has a wider foot stance, and he's like angled a little bit like this, ready to attack a fucking golf ball, because just the way his hands are, he has to be just a little bit more tilted back. His left shoulder's just a little bit tilted back in a fucking John Rahm ready to slot position. Crazy.
Jesus. Dude, that stuff is... It's amazing how important the fundamentals are in everything that you do. And then in golf, like you just said, alignment, setup, grip, all those things will just... You don't have to change the way you swing at all. If you can get those things proper, it's almost impossible for you to hit it that offline.
It is crazy. Like really good golfers, they just like laugh at people. I remember a quote maybe last year, JT was like, "Oh yeah, anytime I see a guy like dig their feet into a fairway bunker, I just know he stinks." Just like, because your goal is not to just get a bunch of sand there, it's trying to get all ball. And just small setup features about people's game that we're all clueless to for the most part is so much of the golf swing.
It's like almost
the grip
everything.
is actually in my head big time right now. I feel like I'm gripping it wrong.
You can just Google
you go to
proper
this,
grip. It's actually, I've done it quite a bit. Our guy Kawasaki does like what's his name, Frankie?
Kawasura?
Kawasura? The guy, he does, what's he do? He always goes Kawashallow, he calls himself, because he shallows the club. You follow this guy on Instagram, Lurch?
What, the guy that hits the balls into the darkness? That guy?
Yeah. I've posted him.
Yeah,
he calls himself Kawashallow. He always says because he shallows out the club.
Kawamura.
He does. He has a grip on like YouTube. He has a grip video. I've watched it before.
Dude, you go to this guy Joe Ingaglia, who's my new coach apparently. He's gonna draw all these dots on your finger, and all you gotta do is just put the grip within the dots, and you're gonna feel like you're holding a foreign object, but you're gonna swing. It's gonna be amazing. We gotta get Lurch on his foot plate thing. You weren't here. I was telling Riggs he's got these foot plates that they're like the only ones in New York apparently at a whatever. And you stand on them, and you look at the screen ahead of you, and it's all the heat sensors and weight distribution.
Oh, I like this.
Bro, you'd break these things.
I like this. I like that idea though. It's crazy. Now we're getting into the like what bothers you about your own golf swing. Right now, my foot placement and my grip, I feel like there's no way I could hit it square based on how I feel over the ball. It's kind of a nightmare if we're being honest.
Yeah. I really I want to go hit like an actual range and do the things he was teaching me because it's hard to tell in the sim.
I know. That's always the tricky things about us non-Scottsdale living people.
I'm going to go to the range right now. I got
yeah, that's nice.
Closes in 50 minutes.
Weight
so
on that. Get that weight on that fucking back.
I'm going to do a little step. Hey, also a big one. My guy, what was my guy's name at the Kingdom? I always think it's Alan, but it wasn't. Jake, do you remember from the video?
Nope.
I had Leighton.
I had Dwayne.
Dwayne, I remember because I think I had Dwayne the last time.
No, I had Dwayne back-to-back years.
I'm sorry. I went there when I went with my boy Chad. We went there and got tuned up last year.
Gotcha.
Why can't I think of his fucking name, Jake? Isn't he in the video? Don't you guys have him in the video?
I haven't touched the video. Brendan's editing it.
Wah, wah.
Podcast promos. Anyways, what he gave me was to open my left foot a little bit. So instead of like pointing, basically your feet like pointing dead straight.
Yeah, the parallel.
Like,
yeah,
almost like a little bit like a duck.
Open them up.
Yeah, like almost you're standing a little bit more like a duck, like the foot opened up, and that really helped me kind of turn through it a little bit more, which was huge.
That makes a ton of sense to me because your left hip isn't closing it off. There's no restriction there if it's kind of pointed that way, so you can.
I guess you're sitting down. Your little tip from Homa, where you're sitting down as you do your backswing, is basically the thing that he was trying to teach me with the foot not going on your toes, right?
Yes.
It's just balancing you a little bit more through impact.
Yeah, it's just an easier way to, not easier, but it worked for me to like basically force myself to do what he was saying. Because I did notice, the biggest thing I noticed, Frankie, when I would do that, when I would watch slow-mos of my swing afterwards, was that at impact, my feet were flat when I would do the max when I was playing really well last summer versus before, like this pathetic limp dick, like up on your toes, loser athletic motion.
My first swing, I looked like Michael Jackson, like doing like the hee dance.
Perry, my guy's name was Perry. Perry, his name's Perry.
Riggs, you did have that tippy toe save. That was like the art of your golf swing. Was I don't know how maybe you brought the club in too inside and then you try to save it by getting.
No, it was too. You know what it was? I had somebody explain it to me. It was so what Frankie's saying, like steep over the top, that there's no room to actually swing the club because you're coming like when you slot it, right? Like you come in and you bring it beautifully in here and you have all kinds of room because you're slotting it. When you come over the top like this, there's like no room to actually hit the golf ball. So I would go up on
just hit your mic.
I would go up on my toes like this and like flail at it and somehow make it work. It's just like all hands and coordination.
Just a little pat on the back to his skill set. Just a little, just all hands and coordination. Just like
when you find the slot, there's something. There's something that feels good.
I can't imagine.
Yeah, I'm trying to find that.
I wish Lurch would have been here for your glowing review of my hockey game. You're gonna have to go back and listen to the podcast, Lurch, and listen and hear all the nice things that Riggs said to me.
I can't believe it. I saw a couple things. I was like, oh, his ass is high. You can't skate for shit. I just saw like a 2-second clip of you. And I was
those things are true. But what I was saying anybody that's made it this deep in the show, they can just turn it off if they're upset because we'll say it again. It's 2 hours and 15 minutes.
Say it again. Thank you.
But Frankie's natural instincts for the game and hockey sense are actually really good. Like Whitney,
I believe that.
Yeah,
because I definitely could believe that.
He has
He's watched so much hockey, and talked with enough guys that
he has a nose for the net. Like as the play sort of like. Sure. As the play develops towards the net, he's just finds himself in the right spot a good amount. So we
connected for a couple one-timers that were fucking awesome.
And he buried a couple times, like some sick one-timers back door.
So I believe all those things, and I love that Frankie, when you started to get to like the compliments, he's just sitting there smiling, just
I did that
ear
before.
to ear grinning. That I like. Usually when you talk to a person that's never played hockey, there's definitely like an understanding of just like what they're doing, like cycling or something like that. It's like, what are these guys doing over there? But Frankie, who's never really played, you can talk hockey at like a pretty good level. So
the only thing I don't know is like
we're
talking about the golf swing and like fucking the slot. I don't know what that is for hockey at all.
Slot is.
No, I know, but my point is like I never went to a hockey camp. I could tell you, and I did this already in the podcast. I could tell you everything about the baseball swing and the baseball defensive positioning and all that stuff. So I wish I had the fundamentals. I wouldn't have my ass. You just said that. I don't even know what that means. Now, if you teach me how to do that, I'll go work on that and I'll like get a lower position, or maybe I don't even know how to stick handle. No one's ever taught me, Frankie, this is how you stick handle. You do this. You want to be on the heel of the stick. I don't even know. Do you do it with the toe? Do you do it? I don't know. I don't know the answer. I do what I'm trying. It's basically how I play the drums. I listen to a song and I try and play it.
Right.
Interestingly, Frankie, is very similar to actually what you're talking about, which is in hockey, when you have the puck, essentially what you want to be is you want your ass to be as low as possible. You want to basically be sitting in a chair. Like if you look at Rudy or me or Sharpie out there, like we're skating around with the puck in control, your legs are, you basically want your knees bent at like a 90-degree angle, and you're basically sitting in a chair, and you are in a powerful, agile position where you could go either way at any minute. Where you're like standing straight up like this, you're sort of pigeoned. Like you don't really have any choices, and you're weak, and somebody can just push you off the puck, or they could kind of dictate where you go. Whereas if you're like low like this with the puck, like you could go anywhere at any moment, and you're really hard to predict. And from that position, at any moment, you could just rip the puck. Like when you're low and you have the puck on your forehand, at any moment, you could just fucking rip it. Whereas when you're up like this, you have no leverage. Like if you wanted to just shoot it real quick, it'd be like a little pathetic flippy shot that wouldn't have any like weight to it.
Right. There's just more power in your stride. Like if you sink your ass and you're like pushing, like you'll do like, there's hockey camps of skating. You like push and you have longer push out if your ass is lower, right? So your blade will be on the ice longer, or your roller blades will be on the road longer if your ass is lower. Now, if you're standing up tall, you can only reach back so far with your leg. You know what I'm saying? To get that
makes sense.
Power and drive forward.
And as you get more and more tired each period and each shift, you just start standing straight up when you skate around because you got nothing left. But man, when you're like in position, or when you're in shape, or that first shift of the game, like go watch Sidney Crosby, how low to the ice he is when he skates around, dude. He's so low to the ice, you can't knock him off the puck. Crazy. Or like Jaromir Jagr, like he was so low to the ice that no matter what you tried to do, he's got so much skill and he's so powerful in his legs and his way that they skate. There's no way to knock him off the puck. It's fucking impossible.
It's nuts. So I'm just gonna bend my knees more. Is that what it is? You
pretty much.
You'll get stronger legs, but you got to bend your knees and sink your ass back. So like
posture up the whole time, like
not so much. Your chest can be like up and strong.
That's what I'm saying. Like you basically want to be like down, Frankie, like in a fucking chair. Like this is basically what you want to be like.
It's insane. It doesn't even feel that.
You can move from that position, and then obviously if you're skating like forward, you're gonna lean forward more. But if you're like, dude, if you watch like Patrick Kane holding the puck in the offensive zone on the power play or something, he's basically like this the whole time, like looking around, just dominating the ice.
All right. See, this is what I've always needed. This is awesome.
I'll give you a skating camp. I'll show you. We'll do some edge work.
Oh yeah,
I love that.
That'll go well.
All right, so I'm ready to rock on, like, I think Wednesday I have another game. It's just like
somebody actually just texted me to play goalie tonight, potentially at 8:30. So I might be strapping on the old pads, ripping the hips apart tonight.
You should play this golf hockey podcast is getting way more into puck these days.
I mean, we were puck guys, and now we're golf guys.
Yeah.
Frankie was a baseball guy, now golf guy, now hockey guy.
Yeah. Athletes is what you're trying to get to.
Yeah, no, you're a stunning athlete.
Lurch.
All right, boys.
Scott Darling was our Lurch of our Barstool hockey team.
Goalie converted defenseman.
Goalie
Breakout
converted
passes
D-man.
in the middle ankles.
Just out there, like kind of wreaking havoc, kind of in the way, like of the other team, and just almost like a stopper in soccer who's just kind of in the way and clogging shit up. And that he was our Lurch of our team.
Unreal. That's the position. That's my job.
That's your
High
job.
off the glass and out of the zone.
He was a presence for sure.
I'm sure. He was a big goalie, right? He's like 6'2".
He's huge. He's fucking huge. I think he's bigger than 6'2".
Yeah.
He's like
big boy.
He's like 6'4". Like he's fucking huge. Also, we got new head covers.
Those things are
I
awesome.
saw those. Fire.
The iced tea ones. Hell yeah.
Fire.
These are cool for Waste Management Week. Little Arizona iced tea, the whole deal.
Hell yeah. Really like them. I have that on my 3-wood and my hybrid. I couldn't take the stealth one off yet, but I think I'm going to swap it.
All right, boys. Oh, also, I got to shout out Chef Donnie. Was phenomenal in net for the Barstool.
Amazing.
He looked
Chiclets
good.
Cup.
That's a thankless job back there in the heat.
He played amazing. He played amazing.
Wearing that old school mask, too. Pucks ripping by his face.
I couldn't believe he was wearing that. He is a crazy person, but I still didn't think he would wear that. People were ripping that puck, too. You could rip that thing.
Ripping.
Congrats on the win, fellas. It would look like
a little bit of a sandbag, but it was fun.
I would say a huge sandbag, but like when you have Patrick Sharp and you're not even in the A division, I would say that it's
We're in the
just
D.
Yeah, I mean, so it's a joke. It's like,
hey, the competition was decent in the playoffs.
I will say that the last two games, I think you could put any. I wouldn't be surprised if the A division semis and finals looked any different than because the other teams are doing the same thing we were doing. They were trying to go play in like the C or the D and get a win and like walk out of there with a cool trophy from Barstool. So I wouldn't say that the semis and finals would have looked that much different in the A group. A couple teams we played in the round robin, it was embarrassing that we were playing against them.
I can't. I mean, obviously, yes. Yeah. At some level, people signed up for the D division. And then here comes Patrick Sharp on their goalie. Out of curiosity, what was the score in the finals?
We won by like 4 or 5 probably. But it was
5.
probably like, but it was probably 12-8. Like it wasn't, it's not like it was 4-0. It was like probably like 12-8 or something.
Yeah. No, I get it. But you still.
It got a little heated in the second half.
25% more than they did.
Yeah, Sharp definitely took it up a notch that game too. He wore the bubble for that one. So like, had he played at the level he did in the first 4, maybe it would have been tighter. Because he did the fake forehand, backhand, top shelf goal on that guy, and it was fucking so
There was
smooth.
the one Instagram story that went out, and like, I think Frankie, or maybe you look at him or others, but you like kind of give that like naughty giggle smile that he's on your team. Like he skates off and you're like, we're doing this team dirty, but that's a sick goal that you just had there.
D division stands for domination. That's why we went in there.
We got a little chippy with him too the last couple games in the playoffs. It was starting to get a little chippy.
Well, the team we beat
You were stick handling around a goalie that could move. I mean, you made 3 guys look like they weren't even human. Like they were just like roller dummies that were coming through, and like you knew that they couldn't move their skates to stop the puck.
Yeah, I mean, I was
The
competing.
team that we beat to get into the playoffs, they were a B division in Detroit, and they like won it. So they moved down to the D. So like that's how you can tell the guys were doing what we did. So
they tried to pull what we pulled.
I gotta go get some food, man. I'm starting to feel weak.
All right, boys. I'm going to be out of the waste management this week, so I'm sure I'll see a bunch of people out there. And then
I'll actually be out that way too. I'm flying back out to Scottsdale tomorrow for a little work.
Fuck yeah.
A little Axon work, not your work.
So you won't be out there?
No, I'll be. We'll be potentially doing a little drone demo at the Waste Management P-Days or Waste Management Open. So I'll be on site as well.
Wow. That boy, Lurch. So you'll be a thought leader in the podcast space, maybe.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Very nice.
If you've made it for 2 hours and 20 minutes, you have to go subscribe to our YouTube page. I already did this thing 2 hours ago, and it has not changed. My stance on how easy it should be to get to 190,000 subscribers has not changed. It should be the simplest thing of all time. Just go fucking do it. It takes 2 seconds. You got to be on the app. You have to have a login, and you got to go hit subscribe on the Foreplay YouTube page. It does. We just had end of year meetings and stuff, and like we talked to people. If you're a fan of Foreplay, if you want to directly help us and our livelihoods and like how easy it's going to make our lives to be able to get more videos and more golfers to play with us and all that stuff, you need to just go hit a little button that says subscribe on our YouTube page. It's as simple as that. We need more subscribers.
Just go subscribe. That'd be great. Please, Foreplay Golf on
Bye-bye.
YouTube. It helps us. It's big. We're trying to get to 190. All right. We'll be back on Thursday. See everybody out at TBC Scottsdale. Hit it hard.
Hit it hard.
Hit it hard.